the organization to adopt and adapt to work automation, artificial intelligence, and remote employment, which will be a challenge to everyone, especially in industry where the schedules and operation are very much part of the regime of operations. And therefore, the challenges probably will be discussed by many of our panel today, in that the trends arising from the future of work will need to be in line with the company and organization's aspirations and culture. The challenges of how we can work with the current generations of the youth, and also how the people that graduates and also potential graduates be able to land that dream jobs. And hopefully we can get some definition for today on the future of works, how the works current and the future will adopt to technology growth, machine learning and robotics in the workplace. And secondly, how can the physical distribution of the workforce can give rise to in hybrid workforce. We have gathered here the experts today. Professor Datuk Muhammad Jantan, who works in many areas of the future of works, Talent Corp, and also MEMOS, as well as Professor Rosina from University of Malaysia Kelantan, who will probably be talking about how to prepare the graduates for the future of works. Again, the industry players for the benefit of everyone. Thank you very much, and therefore sit down, enjoy the webinar, which is growing to be a new trend of sharing knowledge and practices over the virtual space. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our moderator for today. Okay. So our moderator will be Dr. Hafizur Rosman. So Dr. Hafizur Rosman graduated in computer science with minor in mathematics from University of Missouri, St. Louis. He received his postgrad cert in business admin from University of Leicester, UK, and Master of Science in IT and Technopreneurship and PhD in Technopreneurship Commercialization from USM in 2011 and 2015, respectively. He has various teaching experience, as well as being the head of Group IT and CEO for one of the companies under FEC Cables, Neighborhood. Among his responsibilities were the digitalization of the group IT infra, such as ERP, POS system, document digitalization, digital marketing, and IR 4.0. Currently, Dr. Hafizul is the Senior Head of University Management Center and Marketing at DRB-HICOM University of Automotive Malaysia. Part of his portfolio are marketing, branding, digital platform and communication, scholarship and sponsorship, collaboration, and channel management. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Hafizur Rosman to lead the discussion.
Thank you, Puan Laili. Thank you, Prof. Datuk Surveyor Dr. Omar Osman for the opening speech. Yang Berbahagia Datuk, Professors, ladies and gentlemen, today, Alhamdulillah, thank you for the Almighty, okay, that today we are able to gather, okay, in this virtual platform, okay, on the webinar with the title of Future Works. We have 4 panels today, and we are going to discuss about the topic which is on the future of works. And thank you again, for the Professor Datuk Surveyor Dr. Omar Osman, who earlier have briefly discussed or introduced us, what is the future of works. So with today's generation, which is maybe the X generation, leaving the jobs, the Y generation is coming in, building the career. The millennial is coming to work in the workforce. So we see that, how this group of people, are going to play together, and we see that the pandemic have, come up, where, we feel that, the technology, come faster than expected. So I think, without delay, further delay, is the University of Asia, USM, back in 1982 at the School of Mathematics. Since then, he has head of Department of Statistics, the Operation Research in 1982 until 1990, and then the Department of Operation Management from 1991 until 1997, the Deputy Dean of Research and Graduate Study from 1998 to 2002, the Director of Center of Policy Research from 2003 until 2006, Research Dean of Social Transformation Platform from 2006 to 2008, Acting Director of IPPTN from March to August 2008, Director of the Institutional Development Division from 2009 to 2012, Acting Group Managing Director of Usign Holdings, 2013 I was there, but didn't have a chance to meet him. So, he served as the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation at the USM. And then he currently chaired the board of Usign Infotech Berhad, which is the subsidiary of Usign Holdings. Now, his currently research interest lies on the higher education policy with the emphasis on pushing the national tertiary education to excellence. And he has a lot more portfolios, okay, which is, I will be, spending, explaining, of his background longer than his speech later on. Okay, which is among those, he's involved in the STARA, DSTARA, the MQA, okay, and Higher Education Center of Excellence. So you also have undertaken more than 40 consultancy projects. So without further delay, I would like to call upon, please welcome, Professor Dr. Muhammad Jantan, So Dr. Prof, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you very much. First and foremost, allow me to acknowledge sincere thanks to the organizing committee for inviting me to share my thoughts about this very important topic of the future of works. Okay. I hope together with the other panelists, we'll have a very fruitful discussion, because right now we are actually at the cusp of very important changes. I mean, the landscape of work and society in general will be very much different from what we are used to. Okay, the ideas that I'm going to share during this webinar is actually a combination of my readings, experience, and what is more important is I'm looking from the future of work from the perspective of human resources actually
Recording in progress.
the past into the future, and the other is actually to create the future. And this is what foresighting is all about: futures and scenario planning, trying to understand where the past pattern, projecting whether it will continue into the current trajectory, or you try to influence and create the future that you want. Yeah. So, and the reason why we actually do foresighting, or we want to know the future, is because we need to prepare for some. We need to plan for something. We need to plan for the future. So planning for the future implies the reason why we need to plan for the future is simply because the lag time. Yeah? The lag time that we need to prepare responses to future happening is quite long. Yeah? If we are able to prepare the right responses to future happening instantly, then there's no necessity for us to predict or even to foresight to know what the future like. When it happens, we can immediately activate the right responses. So that's the core of what foresighting is about, why we need to foresight. Yeah? Fundamentally, because we are trying to plan for the future. Okay, but beyond that, it is because it takes time for us to activate the right responses to future happenings. Okay, so some of the reason why the function, some of the things that foresight enable us to do is to inform policy. Yeah, to facilitate policy implementation, embedding participation in policy making, and also more importantly, we are trying to generate information from all sorts of perspectives so that we can identify the right responses. Okay, and the implication of a likely scenario that we want to paint will have impact on national policies, national competitiveness, socio-economic and political well-being. At organization level, we are talking about organization strategies to remain competitive. And also at the individual level, you will see that individual well-being are also affected by what is likely to happen. So when people talk about their career, they are talking about where they see themselves in the future. So understanding what is likely to happen in the world of work will have some implication on their decision about how they want to proceed. Okay. Now, let's get back to the topic of the future of work itself. Okay. Now, basically, we are looking at a few things. One is how work gets done. Okay. This is indicated by Dr. Omar Osman earlier. AI, robotics, automation, these are likely to be there. Okay. So in other words, technology is going to dominate the world of work in the future. But I remember when I was giving my professorial talk, technologies alone, yeah, is not going to make the world go round. It is also about how do you harness technology for the purpose of well-being of humankind. Okay, so how we use AI, how we do take advantage of robotics and automation will determine what kind of work will happen in the future. And then we are also looking at who actually undertake the workforce themselves. We are already seeing crowdsourcing, gig workers, contingent workers, full-time, part-time contingent workers, already there. And it's likely to escalate in that aspect. And thirdly, third and fourth dimension is when and where work gets done. Yeah? This relates to the workplace itself. How do we design our work? How do we design our workplace? What do we understand by the meaning of office? Yeah? When do we actually do work? When globalization do happen, we are looking at work being carried out 24 hours Even factories has always had three schedules, working three different shifts. Yeah? So work, the work schedule become very, very fluid. It is very much the way I foresee it, it will be more worker-centric. Yeah? And that also can be seen in where we do work. Remote work, this has been precipitated by the pandemic. Even prior to the pandemic, we are already seeing in major cities where the log jam of the transport system forces companies who ask their employees to work from home on certain days of the week. Okay, but more importantly, how work get done in the future will be more collaborative in nature. And this is where we talk about workplace design to have more collaborative spaces. Okay. All right. But prior to that, let's understand what we are trying to foresee, the meaning of work itself. Okay. Traditionally, the work is all about mental and physical effort done to achieve one's dream, or in this case, mental or physical effort done to achieve a certain purpose. And it has always been linked to economic and livelihood sustenance. Yeah? Work has always had this meaning that it is an economic activity with the primary purpose of to sustain living. However, of late, we are seeing a different perspective of work. It is about creating a value, whatever that value is. Yeah? Something that society values will now take on within the dimension of work. Okay, and also if you look at the other dimension of the process of creating something for the purpose of humankind. Yeah, and thirdly, in that third dimension, it has take on the sense of belonging. Yeah, work. People have identified themselves with their work. They do. I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer. So it's the social identity. So beyond economic living, beyond effort for purposes of living, work itself has shifted towards more human needs. Yeah? And this shift in meaning of work can be explained by Maslow's theory of hierarchy of needs. Yeah? And this has implication because as we move forward into the future, when the new generation takes over the leadership of organization, whether at national level, international level, or even organizational level, yeah, where there are more their value system, their work values and life values differ from the previous generation. It's gone beyond just economic livelihood. It therefore has implication on how the work gets done and also how the workplace gets designed. All right, now, what are the drivers? How we see things that are going to push or shape the future, the world of work in the future. Now, I think we are all quite familiar with strategic planning, where we talk about scanning the environment, trying to identify what would be the likely drivers and likely influencing the shape of things to come. Now, most of us in strategic management would understand that we always use this tool called PESTEL, which is politics, economics, social, technology, legal, and also environment. However, in the world of work, I think the technology takes precedence and with greater importance attached to it. So technological acceleration is going to be the norm into the future. Yeah? AI, automation is going to be there, and it is going to change a lot of things in the way we do things. And if you look at technology acceleration, this is largely because two things, two fundamental technological platforms that has precipitated this acceleration. One is the miniaturization. Yeah? When we are talking about the nano world, and given that we can miniaturize many things, especially the chips technology. Now we're talking about 7 nanometer chip, that. The reason, the smaller it is, the more that we can put onto the chip. In other words, the chip computing power has increased multiple fold. And that's allowed for a lot of computing to be done instantly. Okay. Now, the other is the platform technology of digitalization. Things have gone from being digital allows it to be coded very. Yeah. So these two platform technologies, digitalization and also miniaturization, has pushed the various technologies. Yeah. And we have seen, and because of these two platform technologies, the various fundamental science has converged, yeah, to take advantage of these two platforms. And that's why we're seeing technology becoming obsolete very fast, because new ones get invented quickly. Okay, so advanced technologies will be there. In fact, because of technological innovation, the half-life of technologies will become very much shorter. I think we all understand what half-life means. Just like in nuclear power, the half-life of nuclear materials determines how long it will last. And in this case, technology, we're talking about 2-3 years at the most. New technology will become obsolete. And therefore, implication on skills and reskilling, learning, lifelong learning becomes critical for HR professionals. Okay. Now, the other important driver that is becoming to the fore is environment and climate change. Yeah, we all hear about SDGs, climate disasters, pandemic. Even the pandemic has been attributed to some extent to the environmental changes that we have manipulated. Okay, so SDG issues will become very important, and therefore the kind of work, new work or emerging work that will come into the picture will become very important, and how we do work in the future, because the next generation will be even more sensitive to environmental threat. Now, I already touched a little bit about need for skilling and reskilling. This is in tandem with rapid changes in technologies. Yeah. And also because you'll see related to number 4, socioeconomic shift, yeah, particularly in the sector, what sectors become important. Yeah, we will see that jobs related to technology and data will become more critical, and therefore people will migrate or shift from one sector to another. Okay, and also another issue of social inclusiveness becomes critical, even in our country. We're talking about inclusive Keluarga Malaysia and so on and so forth. It's all about diversity in the workforce. And this was reflected in our demographic changes, because these diversity issues is already affecting nations all over the world. Because of migration, yeah, because of this economic or political displacement of people, you'll see that nation becoming more and more diverse. Even here in our country, we are already seeing migrants from Burma, Rohingya, or migrant laborers And as they assimilate into our society, then these minorities need to be taken care of in our workplace. Okay. Now, the other demographic changes that we are looking at is the aging society. Yeah. So the aging will will open up new sectors of employment, or give more importance to certain sectors, for example, healthcare, mobility, and other issues. Okay. Now, the other thing that we are talking about the aging, when we talk about the aging society, another important implication is the fact that 5 years, 10 years down the road, we're talking about a new generation taking over the leadership mantle, at both organizational level as well as at national level and also international level. And this will have implication on how work gets done, because they have quite different value system. Okay. And global geopolitics, we are in the midst of quite an upheaval in terms of global geopolitics. There's a shift towards China, BRICS country, particularly South Africa, India, China, Russia. And this has been going on for the last 10, 15 years. Now, why is it important for us to know? Because we're already seeing if industries are shifting towards economic dominance will be towards these BRIC countries, not the West. So the shape of the economy will also change. Okay. Now we're already seeing just across our South China Sea, the formation of AUKUS, Australia, UK, US, trying to dominate the South China Sea arena. And this will have implication on the kind of sector and the economic sector and the social life, as well as, and therefore by implication, what kind of work, or how work gets done will also be changed. Now, number seven is about global delegation, governance delegation. This important shift is also we are seeing. What I meant by governance delegation is we are looking at national sovereignty being passed over to international bodies. For example, WHO recently wanted to pass this ruling about WHO can come in and take over nations when health crisis occur. In other words, passing the authority to make decisions for the nation passes on to international bodies. We have seen previously IMF, International Monetary Fund, when dealing with financial crisis. We've seen NATO, we have seen many such supranational organizations. Yeah? And at the business level, we're also seeing large multinational dictating terms in terms of trade. So now, this also will have an implication on how the world of work in the future. Okay. Now, this comes basically from the work in the EU, and they talk about jobs of the future, drivers and shapers. What are the primary disruptors, a trend that will change this world of work? Yeah, we are seeing technologies everywhere. We talk about communication technology, penetration is to the tune of 6 billion and more, and counting by 2020, which will pass us 2 years past. Talking about the avalanche of data. Yeah, we're looking more, 9 times more data in the last 2 years. This is from Deloitte Insights. And this two implication, technology and data, we already talked about it in terms of AI, in terms of data analytics, in terms of where we work, implication. Yeah. AI, computing, robotics becoming cheaper by the day because of the two platform technologies, miniaturization, yeah, and digitalization, and therefore allows for things to be made cheaper. Explosion of contingent work. This is another social phenomenon that we're going to see. Already, even in academia, we're already looking at part-time lecturers, part-time academics working globally, spending some months here in the West, another some months in the East, some other country. So we're looking at more and more contingent workers rather than more permanent. So issue of work, lifetime work, like what we used to hear from in Japan, where workers stay with the same company for throughout the whole career. Or in my case, I've been here with USM all my working life for the last 40 years or more. So, and then we are looking at the career. I've already indicated that the technology will change your the lifetime of technologies shorter, and therefore your career is going to be, there's no guarantee. You probably will be changing the nature of the job, and jobs in future will be more based upon skills rather than functions. So we are looking at more skills demanded that can be applied to various functions. And again, looking at diversity and generation change. This is from the future of work in the EU. Yeah? And you've seen that millennial is going to be 50% of the workforce, and therefore there will be a major voice in determining how things get done in the world of work. Okay. And it's future of work in the UK. This is from the perspective. Again, we are seeing the same pattern. Yeah? And in terms of technology, we're talking about converging cross-discipline technology. Yeah? And this is largely because of the two platform technologies that I talk about. Yeah? The age of big data, digitalization of production, and therefore you can, undertake the work from anywhere. All societal changes, demographic changes, growing diversity, growing desire for better work-life balance. This is also another important trend that we will be seeing, because I hold the hypothesis that the future organization will be more human-centric, even though we have been talking about technology all this while. Okay, the reason why I will touch on later on. And then we are talking about rising insecurities of long-term household income. Yeah? And this is largely the implication of having to skill and reskill. There's no guarantee that you will be there, you will be in the same organization, will be employed full-time all the time. Yeah? In terms of business and economy, one important thing that we are seeing, new business ecosystem. We have already seen that the supply chain now is global, and now the shifting of importance of China, Indonesia, India. This will be the powerhouses in the future, and this is shifting to Asia. And therefore, we have a different cultural environment, and that brings it, will somehow, different cultural values will affect how we do work, how we collaborate, how we design our workplaces. Okay. Now, resources and environment, again, one important thing I have not touched is growing scarcity of resources. And this has been ongoing. The Gulf War talks about the resource of energy resource. Russia-Ukraine war. Yeah. Again, some would argue that it's based upon the, the gas, the oil and gas from Russia, but it has implication because now with all the sanctions that have been introduced, we are going to see less and less resources being globally shared, and therefore there will be scarcity. And environmental changes will also affect the arable land that can be used for purposes of getting these resources. Okay. Now, that is from the work of Future of Work in the UK, and this is from, again, similar thing we are seeing. This is from Deloitte Insight, the analysis. How we do business will change, digitalization, recoded create to build a workforce of future, reshape career path, career change, and organizational stability. All this will somehow influence our work, because the demand change, the workforce, the people doing the work, some of the job will disappear, but let not despair, there are also emerging work that may outpace the disappearing work. And workplace will also change, where safety, health, and life values will get embedded or designed into the workplace. Now, this is another look. This is from Deloitte Insight, how social changes, particularly will affect changing nature of work, technological changes, women participation will increase, consumer concern about ethical issues like food safety, labor, individual rights, aging societies. These are social changes of happens. Whereas I think technological changes, we are now so familiar with mobile internet, IoT, advanced robotics, sharing economy to peer-to-peer. This is like platform where the link between the supplier to the customer is more direct without any intermediaries organization. Okay. Now, I think we have just about covered what are the things that will shift before we talk about oh dear, am I running out of time? I'll go quickly.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think about another 10 minutes, Prof. Rato.
Okay, I'll go quickly.
Yeah.
Now, the technology, this is a report by World Bank, World Economic Forum. They say that 85 million will disappear. Now, when we look at nature of work, we are looking at three things. One, whether what are the jobs that are going to disappear, and what are the jobs that are emerging. The other dimension is what kind of skills that will be highly demanded in the future. And thirdly, how do we work together with the technologies, all the machines? Dr. Omar talked about machine learning and all that. So how do we integrate technologies and machines with humans? Okay. Now, if we look at this, as I mentioned earlier, the projection is 85 million jobs will disappear globally, but 97 million new emerging jobs will be created. And you will notice that most of these jobs are those related to technology and data. Okay. This is one dimension. Whereas the other, the disappearing or decreasing job, these are the more routine. Data entry clerks, administrative, executive position, things that can be done or been taken over by machines. But more importantly, these are the jobs that can be done that has very little, the causal effect is known with certainty, almost. Okay. Or we look at this is the World Bank report, where the shifts will be largely in the financial services and insurance. This is because into the future, risk management will become critical. because of the uncertainty. So a lot of financial services and insurance that deal with risk there will be a shift of workforce. And here this indicated that it is going to be about 41% change into the financial sector. This is shifting from sector to sector, right? And also together with that shift, there will be a change in wage by about 19%. Retail will also be expanding because of the greater consumerism. Government and public sector will also change, will be expanding to deal with the more uncertain and more volatile environment. But things like, the one at the bottom where it is going to shrink, yeah, office facilities, education services, real estate, these are things that can reduce the workforce by introducing greater technologies. Yeah. Now, if you look at this is another indicator, disappearing job done by a consulting company. By 2030, all this 5 top disappearing job: travel agent, taxi drivers, store cashiers, fast food, administrative legal job. These are routine business, the first to go, but unlikely to disappear. Lawyers, HR roles, trade people, IT system analysts, and medical professionals. And I think we can hazard a guess why this is happening. Yeah, those appearing are those jobs that have to be done. Repetitive, very low efficiency, often not profitable, very easy to automate, and are subject to fluctuating demand. Whereas those jobs that are not likely to disappear, they still depend significantly on human intervention. Okay. From the dimension of skills, this World Economic Forum identified again. If you look, okay, 2 things keep coming up. Yeah. One is those dealing with problem-solving skills. Yeah. Those related to innovation. Yeah. The other skills are those related to technology. Yeah. For example, we are talking about problem-solving, self-management, working with people, technology use, and these are all skills that are required for innovation. Now, the reason why I say this is, in the future, even with technologies, technology has limits, because technologies are designed by human, and they are limited by the human input into it, and they are designed for specific functions. Yeah, so there is a limit to what can be done by machines and robots, and the future is all about how do we continuously innovate, okay, for humankind to survive into the future. They have to look at new things to meet the challenges, and therefore skills related to innovation and creativity becomes very important. Again, if you look at this slide, yeah, those that they require hard brown will disappear. Those that require more critical thinking, complex problem solving, this human interaction, this will be growing into the future. Okay? So skills that are related to, that relies on strength and repetitive routine monitoring will disappear, will be declining in demand. Whereas skills, as I mentioned earlier, related to future innovation, future creativity, and dealing with digital skills and data analytics will become important. Okay. Shifting priorities, again, this is showing the same thing. Oops, what happened? Are we seeing the slide?
Yeah, Datuk, nature of work, skill and competency of the future. That's the current slide. Shifting priorities.
Okay.
Okay, next
This is
one.
again saying that, you know, in Europe, when they did the study, these are some of the skills that require human intervention beyond 2020. Yeah, but you also see that there will be a skill gap. Yeah, going into the future, there will be a huge gap because the lag time to get upgraded, upgrading of skill is becoming longer. Yeah, so in Europe itself, they are looking at something like 825,000 skilled ICT workers by 2020, and there will be a gap of about 120,000. In other words, all this will remain unfilled. Okay. Now, the third dimension about nature of work is how do we interact with humans, with machine. Yeah. We know that a lot of jobs will be threatened by the introductory machine, but I think we are optimistic because jobs that will disappear will be replaced by emerging jobs. And we have seen already the report where 85 million will be disappearing, but more than 95 million will be created. Yeah. Another reason is because the dynamic nature of the future landscape of work will require even greater human intervention. Yeah, because we're talking about people making judgment and flexibility. Yeah, because as I mentioned earlier, the limits of machine is determined by human. Okay, we have seen this in the various the robots in various industries, but I throw you a challenge. How do we do it? Because when we talk about nature of work, when we introduce machine, when people talk about how do we introduce machine, we always follow this path, typical path. We want to increase the efficiency before we talk about increasing effectiveness. And therefore, machine has always been introduced to do the same work, but do it more efficiently. Yeah? From Industrial Revolution 0, right up to now, the changes has always been about optimize work first. In other words, make it more efficient before we are looking at how to make it more effective. Even when we have this movement of total quality management and so on, it's about that. It's about making work efficient before making it more effective. Making it more effective is about how do we combine machine and people. Yeah? Okay. Now, when we reimagine work, because this is the creativity, how do we reimagine work to achieve new and different outcomes? Outcomes that are of greater value by combining people. Some would argue that, okay, robots and we have always used robots to displace manual work. Fine, that's about bronze. Then we're talking about now when we reimagine work, we're talking about how do we make robots to be partners in accomplishing work, come up with new things. Yeah? This is the challenge. How do we react that work? So the nature of work, and we are going to come to that. We will reach that because I think beyond efficiency, we have no choice but to go to effectiveness. And this is going to happen. And there will be people who will create or reimagine how works get done. Maybe not in our lifetime, but in next generation, it will happen. Okay. Now the workplace.
Okay, 1 more minute, Dato'.
Okay, maybe I would just go straight to.
Okay.
Okay, what are the drivers of the workplace? We know that the Gen Z is going to come because the leadership organization will change and therefore technology, because they are more tech savvy. So the changes in the workplace will be, Internet of Things will also be there. But more importantly, the one I want to touch is about the workplace has become more emotional. Yeah, because now we are already seeing the pandemic has accelerated that trend. Wellness, yeah. We are talking about work-life balance is already converging. The blurring of boundaries between work-life and also your life, the other life, and they are merging together. Okay. And also we're talking about diversity. We need to take care of, the workplace need to take care of the diversity issues. Yeah. The workplace will need to be designed so that it allows for collaboration and also learning to happen. Okay. And that number 7 is all about now empowering your employees to become more engaged into their corporate responsibility. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with it. So we are looking at hybrid working, AI augmented workforce, staffing for resilience, less focus on role, but more on skills. So in other words, the technical skills will be less demanded. It is more the other skills, the more core skills. Yeah. Employee monitoring and analytics will be there because people, the organization will want to know what makes the organization function, what makes them perform. So they're going to use data analytics to change. So workplace that is designed for collaboration and social networking. Yeah, because one dimension of office, this is the, sorry. Oh, how do I go back? Okay, this is somebody look into the future and say 4-dimensional workplace: the emotional workplace, the physical workplace, the technological workplace, and the purposeful workplace. This is going to come in the future. So we are talking about, emotional aspect of work, culture, well-being, social capital, trust. Yeah, the physical workplace that allows for open office for collaborative purposes, workspaces that allows for, isolation, and then workplace that support technology, yeah? Because the technological workplace talks about innovation. Yeah? So these are some of the things that we will be seeing, which I will skip that.
It's running out.
Last topic, I know, last 2 minutes.
Okay, right. It's very interesting, Dato'.
Digital transformation is going to happen. So there will be massive changes, shifting ideals. This is because of new millennial. Yeah? Work-focused life, or globalization and remote work will be changing. Okay? So we're talking about trend in generation shift. The future generation will demand they have to have even bigger voice in the kind of values that they bring into their workplace. Trend number 2 will be about women. I mean, we're already seeing that, but more importantly, the diversity is going to be here. And this is going to affect all nations, not just in the West, but also in the nation. We are already seeing that. And 4th trend is the kind of people who are going to work. They're going to be contingent workers, part-time, because we are already seeing that. A lot of outsourcing is being done. Yeah. So people are, the gig workers will be there. So all these contingent workers will then bring in different bands. Okay, sorry, I've taken up too much of your time. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Professor Dato' Dr. Muhammad Jantan. Okay, I think it's very interesting. Okay, and I think Prof Dato' has prepared a lot over there, and I think if we would have much time, maybe about 2 hours, I think we can learn more. But anyway, I mean, Prof. Dato', please stay with us. I think, the approach, start, of our webinar today is on human resource management, talking about human capital management 3.0, talking about foresighting, where we need to plan ahead, where, maybe, the Gen X, is facing out, but the Gen Z, is coming in, to workforce, that's more important, and how, the gig worker, the freelancer, playing, have a new, culture in their workforce, and then talking about, the technology versus the social, impact or factors. I think, very interesting. We hope to have more time. But anyway, those who have question, please post it on our chat box, that maybe we have later on, at 12:30, at the end of the session, we are going to have Q&A, those who have question for Professor Dato', please put on later, we can have answered, if we don't have time, if there are a lot of questions, maybe you can email separately, to answer, your individual question. But without any delay, I would like to call for the next panel, our panel number 2, which is Encik Megat Fazrul Azlin Megat Abdul Aziz. So let me introduce him. So he's now currently is the head, for the graduate and emerging talent. Okay, Encik Megat, lead talent corp. Okay, group and group graduates and emerging talent department. And oversee graduate initiative implemented within the ecosystem. Okay, namely the structured internship program, which is SIP. Okay, young employability student, which is YES, and academic collaboration, okay, and scholarship, talent attraction and retention staff. He also play an active role in providing strategic support, translating and monitoring strategic initiative across a business unit through effective partnership and collaboration for the industry partnership department. Okay, so prior to joining Talent Corp, Encik Megat served in the Ministry of Finance, okay, under the Corporate Planning Division, okay, an active social media user. He was named as one of the marketing, okay, in Asian 70 rising personalities on the LinkedIn in Malaysia in 2020. So, Encik Megat holds a bachelor's degree in business management, okay, which is business economy from the University Technology Mara, okay. So I think, now we have heard, the beginning, from Prof. Dato' earlier, on the human resource management from the academia, and also now we would like to listen, our next panel, from the Talent Corps. Okay, so please, Encik Megat, the floor is yours. Please.
Hello.
Okay.
Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Dr. Hafizul, moderator of the day. Yang saya muliakan, saya hormati Prof. Dr. Omar, VC of DRB-HICOM University. I think just now actually we've heard a very insightful global landscape from Prof. Dato' Dr. Muhammad Jantan. So I think because when we actually speaking about future of work, everyone actually referring the same, mostly referring the same reference book, the World Economic Forum, WEF. And today actually myself is representing my boss, sending my regards because he need to attend a YB Minister event in Tapah. So we'll be speaking about the future of work. I think the continuity of what have been presented by Prof. Dato' Dr. Muhammad Jantan just now, very eloquent, very insightful, talking about what's happening in the global market, what's happening in the global environment. So, and how we are actually coping with the continuous change, with the continuous changes happening in the workforce, and also in the workplace. So let me share you the slide I've prepared. Can everyone see the slide?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. Let me just actually walk everyone actually through who we are and what we do in Talent Corp. I think if everyone is aware, we are actually a government agency parked under the Ministry of Human Resources. Previously, we were parked within the Prime Minister office, and we were established actually in 2011 in line with the announcements of 10 Malaysia Plan. The mandate that given to Talent Corp is actually to attract, nurture, and retain the right expertise to spur economic growth. I think we are aware that the technology keep on changing. The economic actually keep on spurring. So we need actually the right talent to accelerate our economic growth now, the present, and also the future. So we are aspire actually to transform Malaysia into a global talent hub. And how we do things, actually we advocate policies, regardless where we are, regardless where we were parked. Our nature is to work collaboratively across ministries, across industries, and also across institutions. So we are advocating new policies, advocating new structural reform, so that the environment and the landscape can be facilitative enough actually to our talent. So we are working collaboratively with the ministries, with the industries, with the academia and institutions actually to introduce best practice, to emulate best practice, and to drive strong and effective partnership. I think just like the expert says just now, Prof. Dato Muhammad Jantan, also Prof. Dr. Omar mentioned that the changes happen so rapidly and it cannot be done alone. I think through collaborative works, partnership, effective collaboration work, it makes more, the wonders can be more happenings. So instead of working alone, actually we strive ourselves actually to work collaboratively across stakeholders. So I think we run several intervention programs in terms of how best actually we can further assist, further support, and further develop our talent, local talent. So, and we work based on 3 strategic thrusts. We actually, I think everyone actually known Talent Corp for bringing back our Malaysian diaspora, Malaysian talent abroad to come to Malaysia. But trust me, actually, it's just a small portion of what we are doing. Our work actually is heavy on optimizing Malaysian talent, where we develop intervention program, collaborative work, workshops and everything actually to continuously building and ensuring our local talent pool actually is good enough for the industry, good enough for the market, and good enough for the global landscape. And second part, actually, we are attract and facilitate global talent. This is where actually we facilitate our experts, our expatriates, and our actually Malaysian diaspora abroad actually to contribute back to the country. And the third one is actually to build networks of top talents. I think we have Malaysians all over the world. We have Malaysians all over the places. They are experts. They are actually well-known entrepreneurs. They are well-known actually doctors, specialists that we wish to tap on their expertise and continuously actually like to build more Malaysian to be one like them. So I think that's the introduction of Talent Corp. So talking about the future of work and the new normal, actually, I think just now actually Prof. Dato Muhammad Jantan actually explained and elaborate actually how the shift of the workforce and workplace is happening rapidly without us realizing. I think we've been speaking about future of work for quite some time now. Aggressively speaking, 2018, 2019, just before the pandemic, and suddenly the pandemic hit us. So I think blessing in disguise, the pandemic actually accelerate the future of work faster than what we are expecting. And we are actually seeing the new normal. I think after the new normal actually terms actually been so popular these days because of the pandemic. New technologies are coming. People are actually adapting to the new technologies. People are actually embracing, emerging the technologies that keep on changing without us realizing. So they are actually acceleration of the key global trends. Actually, we are seeing automation, augmentation, transformation of the businesses, organizations, economics transformations. So we are seeing actually more and more IR 4.0 elements coming in the global trends and also in the Malaysia. So we continuously seeing the importance of upskilling and reskilling, the needs of our talents or the global talents to continuously being upskilled, to continuously being reskilled, unlearn, relearn. So these are the elements that we are seeing continuously happening in our landscape. So rapid adaptation of technology and digitalization, flexibility and remote work. So I think 5 years back, actually we never imagined that working from home is a norm. I think when the pandemic hits us, actually like everyone is struggling, but good enough to say that we are well adapting to the changes. So everyone is actually adapting actually on the usage of the technology, on how they can consistently being productive even though they are at home. They are still actually delivering their important work and tasks on a daily basis during the pandemic. And the challenges for income inequality. So I think the hot issue now is the rise of the minimum salary. But we are also seeing that other things are also rising, which is not that help much. Youth and contingent workforce, Prof. Datuk Muhammad Jantan also keep on emphasizing the key elements of youth and contingent workforce. We see the rise of digital workers. We see the rise of remote workers, gig jobs. So they are actually filling up the job market currently. So eventually looking at the job tomorrow, more and more technology adaptation is coming in, cloud computing, content creation, data and AI, engineering, marketing. So everything now is more digitalized, is more actually easy to access, easily available to everyone. And we can see that along the new and rapid change in the technology, it is significant with the increasing of skills of our talent. So as the technology emerge, our talent actually should also actually build up their capabilities and skills in accordance to the changes in the technology. So this is what Prof. Dr. Muhammad Jantan displayed just now. The jobs landscape is continuously going to change. The skills are definitely going to change to embrace with the technology change that happen across the globe, not just Malaysia but across the globe. We are speaking about cross boundaries, global citizens. We are talking about actually Megat working in my small living room, but maybe work for some companies in the United States, in the United Kingdom. So these things are happening. So yes, actually it accelerates the productivity actually can be accelerated beyond borders, across the globe, across the regions. So actually, if you actually look at the EY work reimagine employee survey conducted last year, so 2020, I think the survey actually is in line with the changes of our workforce environments post COVID-19. So if you can see that there are more and more voices actually speaking their voice about to work in hybrid manner, to work at home. There's the percentage of people wanted actually to come to office, staying 9 to 5 is lesser and lesser nowadays. With the millennials coming into the jobs, also they are speaking about work-life balance. They are speaking about they would even quit their job is not provided post-pandemic flexibility. I think parents are also actually struggling during the pandemic. Our young graduates also try to adapt with the changes of the workplace. So 9 over 10 is actually they want flexibility in where and when they work. Some people actually just want to be santai or leisure by the beach but still working. Some of us actually want to work anywhere, at the cafe, at the Starbucks, at the kedai kopi or kedai mamak, but still delivering the daily tasks and routine they've been tasked for. So some of our talent actually prefer to work remotely full time, 29%. Actually, it's quite numbers actually. I think because the technology is there, the internet access is there, I think they are seeing more and more urge of people want to do work at their convenience. And more employers and organizations are actually adapting to hybrid work arrangement. I think even us at Talent Corp, actually, we are still operating on a rotation basis, 5 days a week. I think we still work on rotation schedules where we still actually working from home 2 days and 3 days are at the office, and the schedule actually rotate among the peers and the people in the organization. So 54% of the organizational culture has changed and improved during the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think be it private, be it the government sectors are, that's why as I mentioned earlier, the blessing in disguise of COVID-19 is actually it accelerates the change faster than we expected. I think none of us actually imagined that, we are going to start working from home from now on. But the COVID-19 is actually, when the moment it hits us, it shut down the whole landscape of the world. Shutdown is almost whole workforce of the world. So I think when the shutdown happens, of course, actually there are businesses that suffering in loss, business that are paralyzed, but how they can quickly rise up to the challenge, to the change. I think 54% of the Malaysian employer landscape actually managed to adapt with the new changes happening in the workforce. So speaking about the workforce of the future in Malaysia context, I think we are seeing the changes is happening now. So from traditional 9 to 5 work, 24-hour shift in the operation line. So we are changing into semi-flex. Semi-flex, actually, they are staggered hours. Some of the employees actually not required the staff actually to punch in 9 sharp at 9 and clock out sharp at 6. So they are flexible actually to start when and where they work. So more and more employers are actually embracing and adapting staggered hours lifestyle of work. They are not flexible actually they are more flexible actually to see these scenes is happening in our organization. So and they are also mixed. Desk ratios is reduced. I think we are seeing that we still have organizations that have a physical workplace, but it's not as packed as what we are seeing before. So they still have an office, but not actually packed with desk space, chair space. More and more actually offsite home working. They are operating in a more flexible manner. So they are adapting flexible working arrangement at a full-time basis. So, and also the professional landscape and also digitalized landscape. So more and more freelancing, remote working is eventually is going to replace the traditional way of things are uh, what we are actually experiencing previously. So from the 100% working on site, now actually the degree of flexibility actually is towards remote working. So officially looking at the Malaysian landscape, I think these are the information that we gathered via working collaboratively with LinkedIn. So the data is not representing the whole demographic of the Malaysians, but it actually come up from the database available on the LinkedIn. So I think we have around 40.3 millions of professionals in LinkedIn in Malaysian landscape. So these are the top employers. But what I'm actually want to draw everyone's attention is the top skills. So especially looking at the top skills, actually we are still heavy on engineering, finance, AutoCAD, data analysis, manufacturing, and human resources. But pay more attention on the fast-growing skills. So they are data analytics, they are Python, programming language, customer experience, finance, language, sales and marketing. Not to forget, Mandarin language are also climbing the ladders of the top fast-growing skills. So these are the skills that come in as complementing to the rapid change of the workforce, the work environment, and also the landscape of work. So that are the top skills. So if you actually look at the youth talent inside, we have about 1.9 million youth in LinkedIn database. So the top skills remain the same, and also the fast-growing skills. So as I mentioned earlier, Mandarin is climbing at the top fast-growing skills now. Sales and marketing, I think as everyone actually is embracing Shopee, is embracing Lazada. So they are actually looking for more and more sales and marketing skills, especially master in digital, have the experience in digital. Python programming language still making the top of our fast growing skills, finance, Mandarin, data analytics, and law. So these are the current graduate employability scenario. So I think everyone's aware that the GE, the graduate employability statistic in 2020, we are seeing a small decline trend just because actually everyone is grappling and struggling with the environment change and adapting to the pandemic that's happened in the country. So every year on an annual basis, actually the universities, the tertiary education actually produce more than 290,000 graduates, and 1 in 5 among the graduates are unemployed 6 months after graduation. I think these are the important elements that everyone needs to pay attention. So in 1 in 5 of our graduates actually is still struggling actually to secure their first employment, and 25% out of this number are actually degree holders. So these are the challenge of our graduate employability landscape need to face together with the challenge that we are facing in the workforce and work landscape environment. So the root words that I'm actually sharing today is graduates or even everyone here actually, are we ready for the job market? So I think we need actually to continuously asking ourselves as the technology change, as the rapid changes happening without us realizing, are we ready for the job market? So these are the questions that we need actually to continuously asking ourselves of where we are, how we are actually aware with what's happening in the market, what's happening with the industries. So these are the main question that we keep on asking our local talent now, our local graduates now. Do you have your own self-awareness? Do you aware of what's happening in the market? So are you actually promote yourself well in the market? Do you have your own personal branding that you wish to sell to the market? And you have enough experience and quality to be in the market. So these are the question that we wish actually to empower more and more our local graduates actually to make this as an important elements and as and when they wish to chart their own career roadmap. So the first important part is actually to have self-awareness. So do you know what you are going to be or going to do once you are graduating? What is your true ambition? What is your passion and interest? So the self-discovery and self-awareness actually needs to be discovered within our local talent so that they are more well aware of what they are going to be once they are graduating. Because actually the job challenge is going to continuously happen as the technology is changing, as the workplace is changing, as the workforce dynamic is changing. But most importantly, do our local talent actually have the right self-awareness on what they want, on what they want to be, on what they wish to be once they are graduating? So the second part is actually the market awareness. Are you actually aware what's happening within the industry that you wish to work with once you are graduating? What's happening in the market? What's happening in the job landscape? I think Prof. Datuk Dr. Muhammad Jantan just now actually elaborate what's happening, the rapid changes that happening across the globe, the rapid changes actually happening across the regions. So are we aware of what is happening in the market? What are the skills required by the market? So I think as much as the institution, the lecturers or our educators actually trying to help to equip everyone with the right skills and mindsets, is always actually at the end of the day of the talent itself actually need to know where they are heading. So the tertiary institution education are actually equip you with the skills, but it's always actually for you, the right for you actually to continuously harness yourself, to continuously actually exploring yourself of what you want to do, what you wish to do, what's happening in the market that you want to work with. Let me actually draw you some scenario and example. So if Megat is actually graduating in petroleum engineering, and I want actually to work with Petronas, do I have actually the skill sets required by Petronas? I think these are the elements that you need to continuously ask yourself. If everyone actually in the DRB-HICOM University wish to work in the automotive industries, if you actually have the wish actually to work with the Rolls-Royce, if you have actually the wish to work with the bands in the Germans, so do you have the skills required by the industries? Do you have the right skill sets needs by the industry? So these are the question that you need to continuously thinking so you are relevant to the market. Then we speak about personal branding. Personal branding is to answer the question of, yes, you know the industry, but does the industry knows you? So how actually you can continuously build your personal branding, leveraging on social media, leveraging on LinkedIn, leveraging on all the right platform for you actually to market yourself. I think when we actually speaking about us maneuvering our first job, our first employment, you need to brand yourself well. You need actually to brand yourself so that you are being seen different from the rest of the candidates. There are more than 200,000 candidates competing together with you in the job market. So how do you want to stand? Do you want to actually to stand differently from others? So create your own personal branding, create your own names, create your own persona. Actually, in order for you actually now actually is the age of technology. Some of the recruiters might just actually recruit you via LinkedIn, via Facebook, via social medias, not just actually reviewing your traditional CVs, traditional resumes. So the elements that I want actually to share with everyone today is actually like create your own personal branding. I think now is not the time for you actually to make use of your social media gossiping, make use of your social media talking about artists here, artists there, politician here, politician there. It's about time for you actually to create your own persona digitally. How do you want actually people in the industry perceive you as who you are and perceive you as the right talent fit for the organization. So create your own personal branding actually play an important role for you actually to land your first job, land actually your next job, land your future career development. So treat your personal brand right, and trust me that employers will more value of who you are. And the fourth actually is to gain as much as experience you can. By gaining experience, it's not maybe not a full-time job, but while you are studying, you are actually can build and harness your own experience. You can do freelancing work. As we are actually embracing remote working, you can start actually doing your own things based on your interests. You can sharpen your photography skills, video editing skills. Everyone is actually like aggressively using TikTok nowadays, but put it as a good experience for you to sharpen your skills for your future jobs. So these are the skills and experience that you can continuously harness yourself, improve yourself throughout your university days so that you have the right skills demanded by the industry. So if actually looking at the market now is appreciating more digital savvy, more digital skills. So these are the skills and experience you need to gain more. So I think with the current changes in the workforce landscape, you are able to work remotely. You are able actually to gain experience, not even actually to be in the physical way of doing things like we have done previously. So these are the experience that the more experience you have, the more value you are creating in you. So these are the question that we are always throw to our local graduates actually when we have opportunities to speak to them. For you actually to increase and continuously understand yourself, your self-awareness. You need to know about what's happening in the industry, what's happening in the market. Create your own persona, your own personal branding. I think I've witnessed a lot of cases where our local graduates have been hired by a good reputational companies just because they have a good personal branding in LinkedIn. They have a good personal branding in Facebook. So we are seeing this trend where HRs are actually leveraging on social media to recruit the right talent that fit for the job. So, and next, actually, the fourth one is experience. So you have your own, compulsory internship to be done. On top of that, you can still discover your interests, build your experience based on your interests. So these are the skills that you need to continuously equip yourself to face the changes in the world of work, the future of work.
Teacher Megat, another 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually about to finish.
Okay,
So,
great.
So, as much as the employers are changing the methodology, and how the way of they doing things, so the question that the talent need to ask themselves is, are they actually competitive enough to be in the market? So do you have actually the competencies needed by the industries? Do you have the soft skills that required by your dream employers or your dream jobs? Who do you know in the industry, and who knows you? So I think the personal branding here actually play an important role for you actually to keep on brand yourself well in the market. So, and continuously actually to improve your competencies and capabilities. I think university days actually should not be waste off with you doing your TikTok on everyday basis. Yes, you can do TikTok, but do it in a positive way that you can brand yourself well to the market. So what are the soft skills required by the industries? Who are the key players in your industries? And what are the key people in your industry that you can connect with? So you have social media, LinkedIn, Facebook now, that you can always actually reach out to the key players out there, key employers out there, so that you can inshallah land your dream job in the near future. So as things are continuously changed, there are actually government support out there that either you know about it or you might not know about it. So there are actually facilities or a support system that provided by the private and also the government, that you can continuously harness your skills, harness your competencies, upgrade yourself in upskilling, whether it's upskilling or reskilling. So these are the tools that available in the market. I think there are actually more and more tools out there available. So I just actually highlight a few that available in the market for you actually to continuously sharpen yourself. Sharpen yourself actually for the industries, sharpen yourself for yourself to be better in the future, to be relevant to the future, to be relevant to your future employers. So feel free actually to browse through all the examples that I'm sharing. So, and trust me, there's a lot out there that you can continuously make use of it to increase your capabilities, increase your skills and competencies. Yep, that's about it, Dr. Hafizah.
Thank you very much. Okay, Encik Megat Fazrul Azlin. So is what we have, understand, so far, from our first panel, our second panel, it's talk about that, both of them mentioned about, the 97 million job created, 85 million job, disappearing. And we are concerning also, that are we in the right track, in the job of disappearing. Well, maybe what we have so far is that, we're concerning maybe, those at the 40s, or those people who are in the policymaker, try to plan, for those who actually, the new generation, coming into the job force. And even, some who are actually at the, 40s, they are actually reskilling and upskilling of their job, their skill, either from the government or from the private sector. I got, attracted, to one of the thing, that, Cik Megat put it, one of the fast growing skill, which is Mandarin. So, quite interesting, well, yeah, I have kids also, and all four of my kids, went to, Chinese school, So I think, it's helpful, because now they grow up. Well, so again, I would like to remind that, please, if you have any question, please put on at the chat board that we have. We try to answer your question, okay? And I think, without further delay, I would like to call on the next speaker, which is speaker number 3, Puan Emilia Mataraha. Okay, so before I call, okay, hello Puan. Okay, let me introduce, okay, Puan Emilia first. Okay, well, she's received her MBA, okay, in University of Aberdeen, Scotland, and BBA from International Islamic University, Malaysia. She's professional membership, for the Institute of Corporate Director Malaysia, Malaysian Institute of Accountancy and Fellow, Chartered Institute of Management Accountant. Okay, she has 28 years of working experience in large public listed company and government-owned company, such as Price Waterhouse, Lars Hartwoods, which is a German-based resident company, Sapura Telecommunication, okay, Berhad, ICMB, Sdn Bhd, and also, currently with Mimos Berhad. So she has been, in the last 17 years in senior management position since 2004. Well, she's married with 3 kids. And then, well, I would like to read on, it's quite lengthy profile, but I would like to summarize, she's very, active, in a few membership, including MIMOS, ICMB, and then a group of finance representative. She's a chairman of MIMOS senior leadership team and chairman of risk management committee, former chairman of Sebu Harga committee, chairman of MIMOS procurement planning committee. Okay, well, her motto is true leaders is one who develop more and better leader of the future. So hopefully we're going to develop more leaders for the new generation. Okay, and she has been invited, for a lot of seminar actually, for among those are actually for in Korea, then also MIMOS itself. And guest speaker for Persidangan Kepimpinan Wanita in 2015. Okay, and a lot of accomplishment also. I would like to read through also. Okay, among those are actually for the settlement of 76 million government loan and divestment of company with net gain as part of cabinet directive on restructuring of MIMOS. Okay, so I think it's quite successful, and I think today that she can share a lot of her experience for us, and also maybe there are students also, some of our participants are students who like to look at whether they are actually on the right path for their career or not. So anyway, I would like to welcome Puan Emilia, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hafizul. First of all, I'm truly honored to be part of this panelists. We have a lot of interesting, inspiring discussion. I'm just one of those out there that is here. I'm more than happy to share what we can, especially for the next gen leaders. As you know, why is this topic important? As mentioned by the past panelists, that the Gen Y, the millennials are coming, and They are projected about 50% of the workforce, and by 2025, the number will increase up to 75%. And you know, this generation is basically, they are born within 1980, 2000. They even maybe grew up with access to social networks, smartphones. They are very techy. They are actually living in the world of technology from the day they were born. And in fact, I think if they were starting to, they were born in 1980, most of them are already middle managers, and also even some are CEOs. We have young CEOs, coming on board. In certain industry, we need young, fresh skills, that they can see better. So the readiness of the Gen Y to take over successes and to build a sustainable pipeline of qualified leaders, experts and drivers, not passengers. This is what we are looking at. And talking about the E sectors in particular, why is it so important? Because they are the highest export contributor for the country, and these are where the huge potentials for the job markets. In particularly for the DRB sector, I think, is very much relevant. And, we have lost 2 years of full productivity, not just the country, the world at large, due to pandemic. Some country are ahead of it. Malaysia, I'm almost saying Mimos. Malaysia itself, I think we are compounded by the effect of there's a few the changes in the government, and in fact these are also adding up also to the stability of the market and also the economy at large. And this is where we need to combine together the old and the new, how to work towards a good succession plan, how to prepare for Malaysia to become a high income nation by 2030, and also a sustainable, how to become sustainable, and be prepared for it. Okay, when you talk about, before I start a further detail, we just want to talk about the positive side of the values of millennials. Yeah, they can contribute to a positive office culture. As I mentioned, they are tech savvy. They are hungry for success. Because they have seen the world. They have access to all whatever is happening. So they have that. They're hungry. They have fire in the belly. They are innovative, of course. They are nimble. They're practical. They're not so bureaucratic. And the part about them a bit Gen X. They constantly seek inspiration because maybe the nature of how they've been, basically the parents, the upbringing, and they are also great collaborators because of their network capabilities. And this is why we call them digital natives. The only part that may need to be wary about the future of the millennials are the potential ethical threats. Yeah, because when we are so gung-ho about become successful, the ethics part, as nowadays we see a lot, reading in the news is sad, kena tangkap lah and all those, so benda-benda macam tu kadang-kadang kita kena be very about, we have to be slow but at the same time clear plan and be watchful and mindful of what's going around you, people you are dealing with, the network. Yeah, as much as we want to be friendly, we want to be successful in life, there's always these things that we need to be wary about. And the reality bites of nobody wants changes. I know graduates, you are moving on, becoming a wage earner. Yeah, and nobody wants to change. Even the Gen X moving out, of comfort of working, becoming a retiree. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to pass the baton because they are comfortable where they are. And as soon as the future graduates, they're entering workforce and become wage earners. This is the time for you to strategize your career and assess your readiness and capability. You have all what it takes. You have all the good gurus the good, support system. Unlike us, when we came, we have to basically, data don't come to us. We have to look for data, and data is not accessible. There's no internet. There's no computer. Is something that is very, basic tools, and you need to take charge of your career path, because of the openness of things. You need to be able to define what you want, and also be able to determine how to control career path. This is very important. You have to learn the skill and obtain the right certification for you to land a job that is fulfilling. Getting a job that's fulfilling, that is key. So you don't go for the job for the sake of money. I know that it's stressful comparing with others, especially with this social media. Yeah, you need to find a job that creates you the exponential growth opportunity. So you may start small now, but the aim is big, slowly and progressively. And it's very important to stay focused, as I mentioned. Focus is key, regardless of what gen you are. And also comparing with your peers and social network is also something that can be a threat, like what our talent corp was also highlighting just now. So remember that positive attitude is a key to success. No matter how smart you are, this soft skill is very important, regardless of what jobs or what profession you are in. The current executives also are now struggling in predicting how job roles will change and what kind of talent are required in the next decade. As I say, it's a moving thing. And this is where the preparation to be agile and leadership in large corporation is also, they have this lack of understanding in exactly how automation and digitization will affect future skill needs. So we are always like referring to what the World Economic Forum are moving to, the other nearby Asian countries, the Singapore, the Korea, for example. So be prepared that constant changes is constant. Yeah, you need to be agile and be ready for that. The generation expectation gap is also a challenge because there's this gap between the middle and senior level management, and also a short of talent replacement. In terms of at the same time, job is there. Retaining the job is also a challenge because people are very edgy and not willing to stay on. Yeah, they're looking at potential. They are not getting, especially for these past 2 years. We've been having a problem to provide increment. For example, a lot of company are even having pay cuts, allowance cuts. Yeah. So a lot of and also offering permanent jobs. And so the entire landscape now has changed. We're trying to look at how best to retain talent, not just about reward, but the entire ecosystem is also a challenge. Now, compounded with the fact there's this hybrid online physical working environment is also a challenge for organization. So, but however, our country depends heavily on the labor market, to accelerate the economy. And we need to create more high added value activity in order for us to become high income society, and not just subsidy recipients. Unfortunately, that's what we are seeing today, applying for subsidy. That's all. We can for a short term, but in the long run, kita tak boleh nak harap government. We need to help ourselves. Kita jaga kita is a very important factor lah actually. And the government is looking at this as how much can the government support and subsidy. We are the game changer. And at the same time, the government is also encouraging foreign investors to invest to create more value-added jobs. That's why a lot of MNC were trying to retain and to come, a lot of FDI coming into Malaysia. But at the same time, we don't want the MNC, the foreign, to import the skills abroad. We want them to tap the talent locally. This is why the industry, the university need to work together to basically mine the gap, yeah, and also with the company where tools, what are the latest tool, what are the latest trend required for the talent, for the graduates, to be ready. Then comes the pandemic, and now moving into the endemic, yeah. So we always have to think that for every situation that we face, it creates opportunity. Sometimes complacency is the biggest, I think the most dangerous thing, complacency. This is what 2 years kan, hybrid macam relax, nobody's really, everybody's like focusing on berapa orang, berapa ribu is having, but at the end of the day, now we have to live with it, how to survive in this near future. And we need to become a game changer, not just the gamer. I've spoken to one of the very, former CEO of Cetera, and also our MIMA's board of directors. He told me it's very sad to see, Amelia, the Grab. Grab is actually a Malaysian company, but not able to obtain some kind of funding, yeah. And Singapore took the opportunity to list them, and it is known as a Singapore company. But looking at the people who was a Grab drivers, those are all a lot of our local people yang jadi Grab driver. The idea is we don't want our young become just a Grab driver, but more to involving in this skill set industry. And yang kayanya owner tu kan, so kita kena sedar lah, seronok dapat duit, syok, but we in order for you to be successful, you need to take risk, you need to bite the bullet to improve ourselves from the very beginning. That's why it's something that we our young need to have that in mind. We need to help that. And surviving the storm, as you know, if you look at the chart here, kita punya aging population above 65 and above is getting more, yeah, because all the people live longer. So basically the passenger is also getting more and more. So we need more drivers to come in, the young ones to come and undertake and participate. Retirement age 60 is something that the government has provided, but it's of course 65 we can still, but our role being an experienced is basically to come and help and to the transition of the new potential leaders of the country. And we have more women graduates, yeah, and a lot of them are now, after 10 years, like most of my batchmates, they end up becoming homemaker, they don't want to become part of it, and we don't want that, because now comparative with my era and your era, now we have more women, more independent women. And if kebanyakan women in the workforce decide to throw their towel and become entrepreneurs, then who will be doing all this moving, so there will be that big vacuum that's going to happen. In terms of the workforce landscape, we have seen many, due to technology adaptation and change. This is why it's changing the scenario of the job. McKinsey reported that, most of the work now are changes because of the automation. And a lot of people now, most of the jobs are now being carried out by machines by 2025. And 75 million jobs will be displaced. And because of this, more robotics, more AI technologies are moving in. But a lot of company has invested. They have done some survey into upskilling programs, and it proved to become a positive correlation between the employee productivity and the training itself. And because of that, the government has actually, you call under the RMK ke-12 and even ke-11, providing tools to university, and I think mainly the IPTAs. For example, how to, they call it some software, in order for the students to be able to equip themselves and be at par with what the demand of the company, and mainly MNCs. Starting for SMEs also we are providing the tools, because SMEs is also, domestic market is also huge, and the government do not want to like ignore them. The DDIs is also equally important, and this is where jobs are being created also at under the SME, the DDI market. The challenge with, of course, the DI, they are not able to pay as well as the MNC, but you'll be surprised the lessons or the knowledge that you learn from this domestic market. Yeah. I personally, after Pricewaterhouse, I work with a small company. It's a small company. It's a German-based company, but they started with technology, and that's where my plus point is when I move on to Sapura Telecoms. Working with a small company, you learn more. Yeah. And my son has a fellow friend in the UK. He works with a small accounting firm, and it is not even the big four. Yeah. But I asked him, he's a Kazana scholar. Yeah. I asked him, what makes you decide to join a smaller medium firm than a big four in London? Because he told me, Auntie, I learned more. I learned the entire rope of business. So that is the plus point. So I say that you should only look at big four. Whatever jobs that kita dapat, we must actually learn to appreciate whatever learning curve. Yeah. Then you start. Because kalau everybody wants to go for MNC, and MNC will look for top 50 lah, even our scholars, you know, they are all top. So what will happen for those that are not coming from the top 50 university? We are being ridiculous actually. Right? And all these top 50 graduates in the world are actually moving to Singapore. Singapore is pinching our students, our graduates. They've got the mid-round done much earlier. And even though they are scholars, because they can pay because of currency also is being crunched. Yeah. So these are the things. Yeah. We must government to support the DDI in terms of their orang punya capability enhancing. Also the students moving into the DDI also should not take this as a second class job. Yeah. And the more important thing is how you carry yourself. So in terms of the facts of the E&E and semiconductor, this is some of the facts that I've obtained. As I mentioned, it has doubled. Yeah. From 1972, when those were the days when they set up all these semiconductor company, free trade zones, the early days of my aunties, you know, working as a factory worker. Yeah. The total exports then was only 230 million. And now it doubled to 456 billion, which makes up 37% of Malaysia total export. Unfortunately, most of the exports are only re-export. You know, these are the part that we need to, the content to doesn't go truly dekat Malaysia punya landscape. So the big opportunity there is that they want a well-trained workforce, yeah. And with the reliable power supply, stable macro environment, yeah, this is going to be a huge market. As far as even the Asian countries, Malaysia stands second after Singapore. That is why a lot of people are moving to Singapore. Even though a small country, imagine they are really growing. And in terms of the electronic component exports, Asian registered a compound annual growth 5.6%. And can you imagine Vietnam? Vietnam is really moving up the value chain. Philippines and Malaysia become the third. Then when we talk about the pandemic, as you say, pandemic in a way has its positive side. Ada hikmah di sebalik the pandemic, where the companies are looking at how to increase and strengthen their supply chain. So nobody monopoly market. So more people are be able to bid, for the jobs, and the inventory of critical products also has increased in that sense. So these are pretty a good sector to move in. When you talk about potentials as well in attracting semiconductor manufacturing, these are basically the indicators that are being assessed, yeah, and we have all of it. And in terms of labor costs, the labor skill is something that I think we are moving towards. In fact, kita ada banyak graduates. I don't see the reason why we're not able to provide. It's just that we need to do a lot of promotions in that sense. And the cross-border trade. Cross-border trade is something that we need to also look at. For example, as an accountant also, we are promoting a lot of our graduates to work in the Asian countries because of the certification required where it's acceptable. So we have to look into not just internal, but also how to move cross-border. When you are being skilled, sometimes your value becoming more. Yeah, that is the nature of Malaysian. Whether we kerja kat mana, walaupun maybe not really need, or it adds value to your resume. Yeah. As far as the opportunity in new norm, repeatedly mentioned about specialized or average skill in demand, and no more processing or monotonous jobs. Even kalau ada pun is very much short term. You won't get permanency. We won't hire permanent because the job doesn't grow. Yeah. And this is where your certification, the skills, specialized skills are important. And the area of interest like next gen materials, MIMOS, we have embarked into graphenes, yeah, how to make things better, the IC design, data security. Forensic accounting is now coming into picture. More is not the normal standard auditing accounting, but it has a different efficacy also because of the issue of data threats, data security. So this has become one area. And it not necessarily an accountant, yeah, can perform this role. Engineers actually have a better, I think, visibility or sharpness in determining, because you have that bandwidth. We have product prototyping. Data analytics is key because we have a lot of university also setting up, instead of normal computer science, computer programming, they have introduced, faculty like data analytics and data science as one of the, and in fact, making collaborations with Huawei, with Microsoft, to provide that kind of internship. And solution architect is another new role, good roles to look for. And you'll be surprised, some of them are not even IT graduates. Yeah. Okay, when you talk about gig economy has been shouted about. The industry for always talk about gig economy with the trend in hiring. This is more for actually companies that are looking for flexibility in hiring and retiring, yeah, because they don't want the commitment. Even government very more into contract worker because they are not able to provide that retirement plan. Yeah, it is good if you have that discipline. Yeah, but to ensure long-term sustainability, you need to grow and progress with whatever gig job you are doing. Yeah, I wouldn't encourage gig economy for a start for graduates. Maybe for part-time, but not for a career. Yeah, and the interest in R&D is also definitely very lacking. I'm not sure. We have university researcher, yeah, but university researcher require the output of their research to be applied in industry, and this is where the gap between research of basic research output at the university and the industry that need to be, you know, tackled. Yeah. So we need the intermediaries. Yeah. Role. Yeah. And the passion of the inquisitiveness about how to do things different. Yeah. Not just on a PowerPoint slide, not just at the lab, but going out and see how it works. And of course, you know, the industry need to come, and in order for industry to invest in R&D, they also are being very picky in terms of whether is it near to market kind of industry that we're looking at. So this is one area of potentials, yeah, that we need to invest. And as mentioned by the previous speaker, on huge opportunity in talent upskilling on the TVET program, because we have under the industry consortium, you know, other than Talent Corp, we have other organization or TVET association that are providing the skills, you know, for the graduates, and also for the undergraduates, may not be, but for more graduates. And they have post finishing school program, normally embarked by MNCs, even SOCSO funding, and the Penjana program also. We used to have this National Technology Sandbox and Innovation, more for R&D realization output. So just to share with you some of the, we have this proposed Manufacturing Innovation Center that's currently being debated, you know, at MITI, MOSTI, and MIMOS. But basically, these are the focus activities that we are looking at. Yeah, we are looking at, again, I mentioned about the R&D on materials, R&D on software design. We are looking at shared facilities, services, the testing lab, the analytical lab, looking at the IC design and the open labs. We have also engaged with the industry how to enhance their capability through providing them the services, shared services. We have also talent development area. This is where when you become expert, you can join the talent development program. We also have technology and IP management unit that talk about how to manage the entire IP and how to commercialize it. Yeah, this is another sector. We are lack of local, rather than we buy, we need to become technology producer, how to become, but these are the unit. We also have this industry forward deployment. These are basically aligned with the talent development, industry enhancement. So in terms of the focus subsector, these are the areas, the semicon, the LED, the IoT product, consumer electronics. So these are basically the sector that we are supporting. Yeah. And the focus application, you talk about, sorry. The focus application, we talk about the industry, technology, manufacturing, the life sciences, the automotive space that may be of interest to DRB Uni, the oil and gas, and also the green technology. So these are huge potential in the market. MIMO's role then is, I think, more towards bridging the gap. Yeah. We also look into new research area where the industry would be keen for us to explore. So MIMOS also have evolved over the years. You know, we have gone through so much changes. Yeah. And that's why we talk about being nimble, being agile, being, you know, once you have the basis and the basic fundamental skills, you can evolve to many facets, you know, along your career progression. These particular skills demands, just looking at the trending of 2022, I can vouch that the skills are still very much, you know, very much needed. Yeah. The technology design and programming is very core, and the complex problem solving, because when you talk about curiosity, these are the bit. We talk about EQ becoming more and more and more important. Yeah, not just your IQ. Especially it applies across the board towards your age. Yeah, you need to have the EQ, compassion, you know. You need to have that balance. You must know what ticks. You must know the danger zone. You must know when to talk, what to talk. So that's very key. In terms of the what the organization or the companies are actually looking at in terms of the skills, the trend, if you look at the top one, hire new permanent staff with skill relevant to new technologies. This is the highest. As I mentioned earlier, company are be very selective and choosy of who they want to take. This is where graduate must allow that period of uh, upskilling themselves, yeah. And as I said, even organization to change the people overnight is also need investment. Not many are willing to, yeah. That is why sometimes new companies, small startups, because they don't have baggage, they are more flexible. If you are willing to grow with them, learn with them, and take opportunity for all the government subsidy, penjana, and me to tap the market. So these are another potential that we need to look at. In terms of the key factor in determining basis for hiring for industry, I would say that these are basically the industry that has been identified. Talent availability for primary industry is very, very key because of lack of talent, and whatever is available, this is the market segment. You move into the industry, finished goods, where you know it's already almost finished products. They are more into labor. They are more picky. They're not willing to. They're a bit particular about who they're hiring, and the reward landscape may be a little bit more, you know, not attractive. But professional services, if you are an expert, the issue of professional services normally start with audit firm or consulting firm, yeah, to basically increase your market capability. And tertiary would be the service sector, and it is not really, you know, it's very much their own autonomy and authority. Okay, under the markets of tomorrow, yeah, pathway to new economy, the three core pillar that we're looking at is safeguarding planetary boundaries. This is where the EV market, now we've been talking about EV for the many years already. EV requires a change of the ecosystem, but this is something that is upcoming, yeah. You can see like other country talking about all the flying cars and whatnot, but where in Malaysia it may take time. And empowering and protecting people is another, because of the people are now very into caring. It's a caring society, exclusivity. So if you look at the market segment of the economy, they look into, this is where our vaccine program comes into play. The government invests a lot of vaccine program, the care, the data, the analytics, the cyber security, the protection of it. The digital financial services is core. That's why they're hiring a lot of this system. They invest a lot in the system. And who wants to man the system? People with integrity, yeah. And also you talk about unemployment insurance. It's another market out there. I know we have a lot of graduates who like to embark into becoming a punctual, becoming insurance agents and whatnot. That's quite a good market in the sense, but you know, another sector to look at. Advancing knowledge is more of the higher intensity where you talk about artificial intelligence, genetics, and also space flights. This is something that I think maybe will come into the next 5 years or so. So it's good to know what's coming. Okay.
Puan Emilia, 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I just gonna be quick on millennials entering the leadership role.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's important, yeah? I spoke about a lot on the what technology, what is the E&E sector. But the reality bites is workplace strategies for millennials, what we are looking at, creating a healthy workplace. On top of that is also when you have a hybrid environment, we need to have limitation and technology during work hours. So assignments given to millennials need to be more purpose driven. If we want them to stay active and enjoying the work that they do. Why I said mental health is equally important because the job expectation increases, especially from kita macam slow mo to a more active role now. And the understanding of empathy and sympathy is also important. Why we cannot just bring sympathy, but there must the empathy of how things work for the bosses and also for the worker to create a more harmony workplace. And building trust and trust is important. Boss want to trust you, but are you a trusted executive? Yeah, especially with this hybrid and physical attendance, you need to be having that kind of mindset. And work-life balance is key. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. At the same time, the environment doesn't come to you. It's us who has to create that environment. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you guys knows how to go around. Reward landscape and hiring strategy, as I mentioned, will also be different since organization becoming more picky about permanency. And these are the things that we need to be prepared to retain talent and to identify what kind of talent that we really need to groom and grow. Again, like I mentioned, millennials must take the opportunity to expand their horizon beyond Malaysian territories, getting employed abroad to increase their marketability, placement. In fact, a lot of organizations are making partnership also with, multinational company, not necessarily big organization, to have their staff in placement where you call it fertilization of breeds. I'm not going to talk a lot about charting your career, but what more important, don't be complacent with doing the same monotonous job. Job doesn't grow, but you need to outgrow the job and qualify to move to the next level. Research shows that 70% of the professional growth comes from work experience. Okay, not from resume, not from me, but from real work experience, and 20% for social interaction and 10% for formal education. So you really need to get yourself soaked with real hardcore experience, know your goal and where you are at present, and also you need to plan your career roadmap. The rest are purely me. So again, be a subject matter expert. Don't become jack of all trades. Become a generalist. Don't become a generalist. Become a specialist first before you become a generalist. And the business acumen, analytical skills, negotiation skills, critical thinking, strong communication skill, writing skills, very core, guys. And characteristic of a SOT employee, you have to be a team player. You cannot be a solo. Committed and hardworking comes with it. You have to respect the leader, but not being obedient blindly. You have to be resilient in the current context of team. Perseverance, independent without being told what to do, especially being in hybrid. Yeah, you have to prove yourself. and take ownership of what task to you. So that's all from me. As I repeat, we would really want to see more leaders coming.
Thank you, Puan Emilia. Thank you very much. Actually, there will be a little bit delay, on our fourth panel. Okay, then I think we have a little bit of time, so that I'm going to pick up one question, probably that I want to throw it to Puan Emilia, on this question, because I saw that you was mentioning about the C-suite, future leader, C-suite future leader. So that we have been talking about those millennial coming to work, but those millennial in the next 20 years, or maybe 10 years, there will be the C-suite leaders. So the question is that if the future jobs or works are going to be technology based, so would the leadership skill need to be transformed also, so
yeah. Yes, definitely
okay.
You can't be authoritarian. As I said, currently a lot of organizations have this bureaucracy, span of control, and millennials, if they are not happy, they will just they couldn't get the kind of answer from the immediate superior. They will just move up,
Yeah.
And these are the things when I talk about the threat of ethics, macam are you in subordination? So all this landscape has to change lah. Yeah, you need to understand what is the bigger evil, to jaga your ego or making the right decision objectively for the organization, not for the person. You see, the problem sometimes when you have too many hairy-fairy, as I say, you need to be practical in organizing, especially when you have limited resources, limited money. You don't create unnecessary unnecessary layers of job. Yeah. You need to be smart in looking at the entire community of people that you have, and not necessarily because they've been working for so many years that they are the next boss. It doesn't work with seniority based on years, but capability. And this is where we have that talent box to determine who is your next talent in each. So they can jump if they're capable. Of course, they need to be prepared in the sense of communication is key. Bila orang tak puas hati because lack of communication. So we have, I think at the end of the day, we have to start short of all this respect. Respect have to be earned. Yeah, they also need to be respected. Both mutual respect. So the landscape of bosses memang, to me, is more of, as I say, Gen X has a different challenge. They start with nothing. They come all the way to earn, And but at the same time, these they are the ones going to be taking the baton from us. Kita dah tak ada suara dah.
I think we learn a lot from our kids also. I think like my kids also around your age, your kids' age also, which is the millennial, so seems like their demand, their habit, what they want, is kind of different.
Yeah. They will ask questions that sometimes you pun terfikir. Kenapa dia orang tanya soalan tu? Because dia orang tanya tu objectively. Sebab kita ni terlalu syarat dengan benda-benda unnecessarily. Bagi I lah.
So when it comes to works also, we have the new, millennial coming to start work, in the organization. So we are also looking them more like our kids, but their demand, or whatever, their the way they look at the organization, they're looking at the works, it's also different, all right? Yeah. So, okay, all right. So, we have any more questions, that, anybody would like to ask, if you would like to have a question, you can post it in our Q&A box. Okay, if you don't have, we have a lot of questions or whatever. You know, some people asking about, you know, getting a slide to be shared. You know, so we're going to get the speaker, okay, or the panel approval first. You know, once we get the approval, you know, then we're going to send to email you, you know, the slide. Okay, another one question. Okay, you know, maybe you like to emphasize on the EQ. It was very interesting, you know, that you highlight on the EQ and the IQ. You know, that we know that the IQ is now being more on the skill, you know, looking that, you know, that maybe it's changed, you know, or taken over by the robot or taken over by the machine or the AI. The EQ, you know, the EQ part, which is also more related, you know, to the electrical electronic, you know, that the EQ part is not being able to be taken by the machine. Yes. So maybe, you know, those are the things, you know, maybe the skill still, you know, not diminishing or not, you know, is going to be there, you know. So can you, you know, maybe elaborate, you know, or talk a bit about this, you know, the EQ versus the IQ, you know, the skill.
Okay. At the end of the day, yeah, we are dealing with human. The tools, robots are there to make things easy for us. To achieve the means, there are many ways. Yeah, there are many ways to achieve the means. So this is where potential leaders, you know, we have technical track, we have management track. In order for an incumbent to become future leaders or managers of tomorrow, they need to have that EQ to manage these techie tracks and to feel that part, because bukan semua orang are born to become, I tell you, managers. Yeah, my husband prefer to deal with robots or machines than human. Dia cakap, I mean, like that is our role as leaders is to ensure that we backfill the EQ part. As much as kita nak people deliver with the carrot and the stick. Stick doesn't work without carrots. The carrots also not talking about money. It talks about the presence of being there, being a good listener, understanding the issues. This is where an organization, they have mental health champion. They will have forum, they will have a counselor even, yeah, to because most of them are experienced technical people, but have that kind of passion. You need to be passionate about human, willing to mendengar. So benda-benda macam tu bagi I, kalau tak ada, is as good as the company sustainability. You will be deemed as an employer that doesn't care about all you care is about money, making profits, whether kita sihat, kita mampu, kita tak mampu, tak ada. There's no window. So that is why in an organization it needs to have that balance lah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think, you know, we still have one more question, last question, you know, before we give to the fourth panel. Okay, the next one, how can we determine, okay, the value of skill relevant to the future of work marketplace, and how can we increase the value of human labor in the 21st century? Okay.
Wow, this is quite.
Okay, so how can we determine the value of skill? Okay, so how are we going to define the value of the skill relevant to the future work marketplace? Okay, and how we can increase the value of human labor in the 21st century?
The value of skills in normal context, normally kita akan ada reference of the industry lah.
Yeah. Okay.
And also affordability. We have ranged from 25th, 50th, 75th percentile of all the job markets, industry leveling. And at the end of the day, tu yang people jump because that company pays more. But at the end of the day, we also need to cost of business. Yeah, this is where I'm saying the value of skills in Malaysia comparatively abroad. Even I pergi Sweden. the apa ni yang jaga kedai small shops are being paid 14,000 Swedish franc. You rasa macam you tak boleh brain, because over there is different market segment kan. So it's it again depends on the industry benchmark. We have that, and you be able to know through the data, yeah. And choosing the best value skills, of course, when you talk about specialized skill that is scarce, that not many people are having it. That is why now with a lot of data science solution architects, you talk about they're being paid. If you talk under the segment of AI, data science, system development, yeah, they are very much well sought after. Even tester are basically low and menial job, but they are the leveling the block skill tester.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Puan Emilia. Okay, so I think it is now, Prof. Dr. Rosalina, okay, Ahmad Sophie is ready, So, but anyway, before I, call her, let me introduce her. Okay, the next, our final, panel, is Prof. Dr. Rosalina Muhammad Ahmad Sophie. Sorry. Okay, so let me quickly, go through, her background. Okay. So Prof. Dr. Rose, is currently a dean, for Malaysian Graduate School of Entrepreneurship and Business, University Malaysia Kelantan. UMK, she's obtained her PhD and Master's in Business Administration in 1995 and 1991 respectively from University of Sheffield, United Kingdom. She was the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International at the UMK from 2012 to 2015. And prior to that, she was the Group Managing Director of UMS Link Holdings, Sendirian Berhad, from 2007 to 2012. And in 2015, she was seconded to Azman Hashim International Business School, UTM, till 2018. She was a visiting professor at Sharif Hidayatul State Islamic University, Jakarta, Indonesia, and Tsinghua University in China, Xiamen University, Malaysia, and also currently as adjunct professor at DRB-HICOM University of Automotive, Malaysia, and also the adjunct professor at AEU University, Malaysia. She's also a fellow at the Putra Business School, UPM, and also honorary guest for International School of Media and Management, Kolkata, India. So without any further delay, I would like to call upon, Prof. Rose. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hafizul. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My apologize for a little bit delay for the, but I hope I'm on time, right?
Yeah, sure. It's okay. Go ahead.
Let me share, because being the last speaker, so I have to make sure the audience are still awake and energetic to listen to the last speaker. I will try my best. And the title that was given to me, something can be very tough. Let me put on, okay. It will take a couple of. All right, okay.
Okay, Ken.
So the role of higher education institutions in preparing graduates for future work. So are we ready? Okay, so I've been listening to the previous speakers who've been sharing with us about what are the future works, okay, the need for technological competency, and netizens are really looking for a very different kind of work environment as a need for to balance the work life and to be able to allow them to be flexible in their working and still be able to deliver what's supposed to be delivered by them. So all those are actually the new challenge which we are going to face in the future. Not me, perhaps, but the future employees, who wants to take all those challenge. And now here I'm in the education, from the education sector. Okay, so we got to think very different actually. How far we have done to ensure our graduates are actually prepared to face the new environment, the new skills, the new, what we call the new future works. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So before I move on, right, so there are some facts that we need to think about the future work, okay. From all the forums, if you look at the World Economic Forums and even some of the scholars, the guru of human resource, they are talking about the KSOC, the knowledge, skill, and other competencies are very important to be acquired by all employees, or what we call the human capital today and the future. Yeah. So we are overemphasized on the skills. We are also emphasizing on the competency, and very little scholars, but I'm very glad to hear from Prof. Dato' MJ and also up to Puan Emilia. Puan Emilia just now? Betul Dr. Hafizul?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, Puan Emilia also has touched a little bit on the values, the importance of values. So this is something which I'm going also to discuss, whether to what extent that our universities are preparing the graduates to acquire the right values or morality issues. Yeah. Okay. So this is always the dilemma among the graduates actually: skills, competencies, or values. Which one should go first, or do I have to have everything at one go? Huh? Okay. And then now we are talking about, when we look at the future, even today, some of the organizations already started to talk about the technological changes. Yeah. So we got to embrace all this new technology. We are talking about AI. Our students ready to use, to understand, or to apply the new technology, for example, IoT, Internet of Things, the machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, to be able to use human resource information system, or whatever fields that you are in. So there's always some part of technology there, right? And on one hand, we are talking about the social stigma here, the social changes. Yeah. So the rakyat, the masyarakat is looking at graduates to have values. Okay, the graduates needs to champion on certain thing at the grassroots level. Okay, how do we address the societal issues? How do we innovate in order to solve societal issues? Okay. And the society now has to not just know about technology, but be able to educate in a form that easy to be understood by the society, right? So these are all the social changes that we are required. On the same time, we are also required to adapt with the technological changes. And on the other hand, also the netizens, and I'm glad I just got to listen about what Puan Emilia talking about the quality of work-life balance. Okay, I'm putting here about the netizens today and the future are looking at more flexible working. They are not just like me, okay, who can come to work at 8:30 and then finish at 5 or 7 o'clock. But what they want now is that, okay, can I work from home, or can I work from anywhere so long that I deliver? You just measure me, my productivity. So this is what you require from me. So this is what I have to deliver to you. So there's no such thing of I have to punch in 8 o'clock and punch out at 9 o'clock. So I need a flexible working there. So what's the reason that you require from us to be in the office? So these are some of the questions actually the netizens are posting to the employers. Yeah. Okay. And they're also looking at the QWL, the quality of work-life balance is very important. Do organizations today provide a stress-free environment? Or I know some of my colleagues now are taking many of them are taking optional now. So is it due to stress? So this is what's carrying the netizen actually, yeah, whether they got a real quality work life, okay, quality life balance, okay, they can able to balance between the work demand as well as the family demands, okay. So they are looking all these aspects. So my questions to the audience today, are all these things equally important, or we need to choose? We need to choose skills, we need to choose competency, or we should address more the values, okay? If we talk to our parents or our great-great-grandparents those days, they always emphasize on the values. With good values, you will acquire good skills and competencies as well as knowledge. So that those days, these are what the parents always instill. They instill to me, and I'm sure they instill to people like Dato' Omar, Dato' MJ, and those, we are no longer netizen, but we are the autisans. Okay? All right. Okay. So, and social challenge, we want to address our societal changes, but on the same time, we can't forget the technological advancements. Okay. So these are also equally important. So what have all these things impacted the education system? Is our education system now producing quality citizenship, which I'm referring to the quality students with good citizenship? So how I define good citizenship is that possess the high value, yeah? High value, positive value, and morality, right? And when we talk about quality knowledge, okay, it's not just knowing the knowledge, okay? This is something that if there are graduates here today, okay, knowledge is not just about acquiring the knowledge, but it is about the usefulness, okay, be able to differentiate what is useful and what is not useful, and how can it be applied? So we're talking about applicability to your job functions, yeah, okay. And do we allow? This is very, very lacking actually for education to address, yeah, career development. When we talk about career development, education always boils down to let the organizations, okay, the workplace think about what are the career progressions to the available to the employees, okay. Hey, as a universities or any higher education system, higher education institutions, we got to understand that whenever that we develop a certain program, a certain curriculum, so we have to foresee. So I think Prof. Dato' MJ was talking about the earlier word he used, foresighting. Yeah, okay. We have to foresee what will be the future career lives for these graduates that we have produced. So this is very much lacking at the moment by the university in addressing, okay, what we know is that what is the future job, okay, but we never talk about is there any career progressions that they can make, right? Okay, after holding a post like engineer, for example, if you are working as an engineer or junior technicians, okay, what's next then? Can I progress to a senior engineer or qualified engineer in the future? So this has to be addressed as well at the university levels. Yeah. So these are the some facts that I'm just would like to throw to audience today, right? Okay, if we agree, yeah, if we agree, skills are important, competencies are important, values are also important. On the same time, we need to address the changes in the society and also embrace the technological changes while introducing what we call the flexible working. So how do we prepare our students to be able to cope with all these issues in the future? Yeah. Okay. So the HEI's role, okay, to me, right. So these are I've got here 8 plus 8. So it's about 16 roles that HEI's got to be very serious in educating their students. It's no longer orang kata main-main, but we got to be very serious. When I say very serious, we have to walk the talks, yeah? We have to really implement and apply it in the education system. Okay. The first one is about encouraging the teamwork. I think if you look at the previous speakers, almost all speakers are talking about teamwork, ability to work as a team, right? Okay, right. Have we got, sorry, before that, okay. I have not heard from the three speakers talking about the importance of knowledge. I know they did indirectly mentioning about the importance of knowledge, but you see here, what the future works required is beyond knowledge. Is beyond knowledge, because they know when you are into the university, you will get that basic knowledge. If you are a marketing student, so you will learn about marketing discipline. If you are a doctor, medical doctor, you will learn about what are the things that is supposed to have as a medical doctor. If the same goes to engineer or IT brief. But the future work is looking beyond than just a knowledge. Yeah, okay. And among the things that we have to address the changes in the future works that has been mentioned by the previous speakers. So this is what we're going to do here. How do we encourage the teamwork? First one, okay. All right. So we need to encourage them, okay, by not just introducing a group project, because I think that is not enough, okay. When we teach the student, okay, yeah, I know many lecturers will say that, okay, let's do a group project, okay, a group project of 5 or 3 people. So what they did is that division of work, right? Division of work, membahagikan kerja. Okay, you do chapter 1, you do chapter 2, I do chapter 3. So at the end of the day, okay, it is not synchronized because everybody is doing their part and not understand the whole thing. So that is not a teamwork. Yeah. So what do we mean by real teamwork here? Yeah. Okay. So it's not because I'm coming from the entrepreneurship university, but let's say, I'm sure those in the sciences, if you have a big project, right, to develop a prototype, so that is the kind of teamwork that you want to see by your students. So more project-based to encourage teamwork. Yeah. Okay. The next one is about future focus. What? We talk about future focus. If I am an engineer, so I just know my discipline. Hey, no, it's not. That is not enough. I need to know beyond than my disciplines of being an engineer or electrical engineer. Yeah, I need to know about the financial. I need to know about how to develop a costing, yeah, a budget, for example. I need to have what we call the world view. So this is actually lacking. So how do university address this to ensure that our program is a future focus? So that's come to the point that we need to have that a little bit of entrepreneurship course to be embedded across, to be introduced across all disciplines, for example. Yeah, or we need to embed basic, maybe data science. Again, what is data science? A basic introduction to data science across all disciplines, whether you are social scientists, whether you are science, whether you are marketers or business students, you need to understand. So that's talking about future focus. Yeah, okay. Then teach them the complex thinking skill, right? Okay, I think many of us have talked about that, right? Complex thinking skills. The only one way to introduce complex thinking skill by introducing a case study orientation, which is below that. Yeah, okay. If we use a lot of case study orientation, replace the normal examination or conventional examinations with a case study. Replace the slides that guided the teachers or guided the lecturers with a case study. Reduce your slide. Yeah, I've seen many, especially, I'm sorry jika saya mengecilkan hati siapa, alright. For example, the junior lecturers. Yeah, when they come back from their PhD, the first thing they want to teach is whenever they want to teach a subject, they will look, okay, which subject can provide the slides, right? Okay, dear colleagues, okay, please, if possible, try to avoid those slides, okay, but try to use case study, yeah, because case study helps the student to understand better, to relate to the real world, and to nurture their thinking. Okay, so that's why universities today, you got to inculcate students of thinking, not students of not just knowledgeable, but students who are willing to think, who can think, not willing, who can think. Because if you think that, I mean, you can teach well. If you can think well, you can present well. If you can think well, you can discuss well, you can argue well. So the problem with us, okay, we are not able to think because everything is being spoon-fed. If we do not spoon-fed the students will complain. And I would like to remind my colleagues here, please do not afraid of this. Okay, I know students are very daring actually. Okay, apa-apa sikit akan complain, but if you have a very good intention of educating the students, inshallah, they will appreciate what you've done. Yeah. Okay. The other part is the well-rounded or holistic curriculum. So indirectly, I mentioned about the B future focus. Okay, a well-rounded education, which include, if possible, the technology, entrepreneurship, STEM element, or mathematics, okay, plus a little bit of history and communications courses that may help actually to have all this to produce a well-rounded students. Yeah, okay. The other one is about work-based learning. In the case of Malaysia, we have so many good policies. Okay, one of the Excel. So under Excel, we have Real, we have Ideal, we have, I can't remember, there were four things, 4 elements there about research experiential, industrial experientials, program experientials. Okay, so in the nutshell, it is about work-based learning. Okay, and how it would be nice if the universities can establish teaching factory. I know many universities today actually have developed their own teaching factory. So use this platform, okay, and offer this to the students to do their internship. Okay, they are actually the workers. Yeah, they are actually your employees in order to run the day-to-day activities at the teaching factory. So what does it mean by teaching factory? It's not just meant to generate income, but it's actually to provide a platform for the students to learn. Yeah, so that is what is a teaching factory for. And you can have all these things, the teamwork, the elements of teamwork, future focus, complex thinking skill, well-rounded curriculum into one teaching factory platform. Yeah, you can have all this. Reduce the classroom hours of teaching, but replace it with the replace it with the internship at your own teaching factory or even at your industry partners. Yeah. So I wish to note here the programs like 2U2I, I think is a successful. For UMK to champion on 2U2I, for the past 3 years, we have produced 100% graduates employability who being graduated from the 2U2I program. Yeah, okay. And this has not just been proven by UMK, but also proven in the Western countries. For example, like in the German universities, most of the German universities, as well as in the Korean universities, a few, yeah, they have gone on this work-based learning long time ago, right? And they can see the changes. Samsung, for example, working with the Kaskias universities in Korea. So how they back up their students while they are studying at the university. Similarly, goes to the Hyundai industry. That is the giant company actually in Korea, working with the Ulsan universities. They back up the Ulsan university to ensure students are having all this, what we call ability to work as a team, future focus, have the critical thinking, and also well-rounded. Yeah. And the other one that I would like to touch here, the HEI's role is about how do we inculcate values. Yeah. Okay. At the moment, most of the universities having that 2 course, yeah, course yang ketamadunan Islam dan juga ethics tu tadi. And I don't think this is enough. Right? Enough as a standalone, yes. cukuplah, enough. But ask ourselves, are we able to really inculcate those good values in the process of teaching and learning experienced by the students? This is something that we got to really. So how do we do that? Okay, I don't mind if my lecturers, okay, have a 2-3 minutes tazkirah before they conduct their class, just to remind, and also while encouraging them to develop a project, for example. What is the good values of develop a project? Discuss. Right? Discussions is the good values. Right? Ethics. Right? Honest to each other. Right? So always imply it. Yeah? Imply in the process of educating the students. Yeah? And then case study orientation, this is as I mentioned just now, and it's very important and critical for the postgraduate level. Yeah. Yeah, try to replace those slides that guided us to teach with a case study. Yeah, and then the assessment part, okay, formative versus summative. So yes, we do have one, and MQA is required, has putting a mandatory that there must be a final examination. Okay. MQA doesn't say that final examination must be memorizing. How do you conduct your final examination? Yeah, that is the question. As long as there is a final assessment being done individually by the students, is good enough. But how you're going to do it is up to the lecturers. So the concept of formative and should be addressed. Yeah, summative, yes, you can do it through maybe a little quizzes, right, or short assignments during the 14 weeks of one semester. Yeah, so differentiate type. And another thing that I would like to address here, okay, it is high time that we have to differentiate the type of assessments according to the programs and also levels. Yeah, so this takes experience also to the lecturers. Yeah, for example, if you're talking about if you are teaching social scientists compared to teaching the applied sciences, of course the assessments have to be different. Yeah, because for example, applied sciences needs a very precise or accurate result, so you need to have different assessment. Yeah, and then the levels, undergraduate, postgraduate, diploma, and it also has to be differentiated. And another one in terms of the assessment, lecturers, universities, okay, must encourage data solutions capability. Teach the students, okay, through your own course, okay, how to use or to understand data and informations to solve a problem. Yeah, in any field actually is there. For example, in my field of strategic management, yeah, okay, the data that I need is about the financial data, right? The the geographical area, if I'm talking about certain strategic issues, whether I should invest in one place or another place. So that is talking about data. So how do I use and understand all this data and also information in order to solve a problem and towards and making a good decision? Yeah. Okay. And the next one, okay, another 6 more roles that universities have to do is that I think I'm going to go too quickly because everybody more or less people are quite aware about it, about curriculum review. But what I would like to point out here, all right, review when it is required. Do not wait until 5 years. I know many universities, okay, belum lagi tempoh matang, okay, it would be reviewed after 5 years. No. What you need to review is the whole program structure, but you don't need to wait for the whole program till 5 years, but you can review the course syllabus every semester, subject to the approval of your head departments or your deputy deans or your dean, right? So you can review your course syllabus every semester, right? So this is the thing that lecturers must understand. Yeah, reviewing curriculum, if it's necessary, you think that we have to review the next year, why not? You just seek for the Senate approval and follow through all the procedures. So don't wait until the people say tempoh matang tu tadi. Yeah, okay. And the new technology must be what I say embedded or infused or integrated in the program. So it can be embedded through the program. it can be infused through the discipline, or it can integrate within a course. Yeah. So whatever modes that you do, that you must embed this new technology. So don't say that I'm a social scientist, I'm from human resource. Well, I don't have any technology. Yes, every discipline now use technology. Even people in the human resource, they do have the human capital information system. Yeah, okay. So we need to integrate that in our course when we teach to the students. Okay. And the other one that I would like to touch about, this is something which is very rare the universities want to talk about using this vertical and horizontal approach. Yeah, okay. On certain core courses, right? Okay, there are certain courses which are required by all disciplines, regardless you are from the science discipline or from the social science. For example, the basic data science, I think I've mentioned that. Yeah, if you are using a horizontal approach, meaning you have to introduce those courses that you think must be embraced by all the students, regardless disciplines, then you are going for horizontal approach. And on the same time, vertical approach when you think this need to be emphasized by certain programs. Yeah, okay. So look at this model appropriately. Yeah, okay. Another one, inculcate soft skills and appropriate measures. So I think we're talking about leadership, communication, agility, resilience, marketing skills, and everything. So this need to be had, not just the business students or the marketing students must know about leadership or communications or marketing skills, but this is across all the disciplines. Yeah, okay. And the other two ones, yeah, this is my last 2 points. Okay. Having all those elements, if we can deliver it well, right? The new technology embedded, we are using horizontal approach. We are
yeah, okay. All right, she's back.
Yeah, if we are using
okay.
Sorry, Dr. Hafiz. Okay.
I think the internet is not stable. On your side. I think. Yeah.
Okay, let me.
It's okay now. It's okay now.
It's okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The last 2 points that I would like to address to the person who deliver the courses or the program, that is the academic fraternity. Yeah. Okay. We always touch about curriculum. We always touch about the mode of delivery, but let's talk about the academics. Yeah. How have we ensured the academics are well equipped with the current knowledge and competencies? Our academicians have some flavor or being attached to the industry? Are we imposing a stringent measure on staff performance? I'm referring to both academic and also the non-academic staff. Okay, we're talking about working in the university are learned people, yeah, not just the academics, but the admin staff are also considered learned people because they are working in the universities. So they must know what the universities are doing, right? Okay, so we need to think this carefully, yeah, ensuring the academics are well equipped. So we can't take things for granted. If you are graduating in 2000, well, so that's it. You got your PhD, you got associate professor, so that's fine with you. Or even you got your professor, also is fine with you. Well, dunia berpusing, yeah. The environments, okay, the business, the industries are very robust, yeah. Okay, so we need to upgrade our academics from time to time, yeah. Okay, right. So I hope I'm on time, yeah? Okay, few other roles.
Yeah, you can give another 5 minutes, that will be okay?
Yeah, I've got one more slide only here.
Yeah, okay, great.
Right, so few other roles of higher educations that we have to think now, right? Okay, do we inculcate those good values among the faculty, including the staff, in the process of teaching? These are some of the questions I would like to pose to the academicians, yeah? Okay, how good is our technology? support system in the universities. We are talking now, we want to produce students with the new technology skills, being augmented with the new technology, but do our universities or our education systems are being supported with the right and strong or stable technology or ICT system? Do we foster techno-stress or stress-free, at least minimum stress? I would not say stress-free, there's no such thing of no stress in this world, right? But at least minimum stress level at the university environment. If students are not able to cope with the studies, okay, due to instability of the technology or ICT infrastructure, so what should we do, right? Okay, have we provided enough flexible education? So I know everywhere I go, I've been listening to people talking about flexi education. Do we really understand what is flexi education? Flexible education is not just about ODL, open distance learning. Yeah, please, I would like to correct that. Okay, it's not just about introducing students through introducing our program through the online education. Flexible education is about empowering the students to choose the educations how they like to be, to choose the program, to choose the courses when they like to be, right? So this is something which is very tough, but if you're talking about the future, this is what the students are actually looking for. And perhaps in the future, there will be no more universities. There will be universities, but there will be no more physical universities. So now we've seen quite a number of universities like AEU, like UNITA, UNIRAZA are introducing. That is an online education. But we're talking about flexible education. Remember, we go back to 1960s, 1970s, the Adabi concept of learning. Kalau siapa yang orang lama, mungkin Dato' Omar still remember, right? The Adabi, how the distant learning. Those days, our parents, our great-grandparents studying North University, they learn Cambridge A levels, okay, there's no universities, okay, but through distant learning, right? Okay, they choose whatever they want. But what I'm talking now about flexible education is empower the students to choose and structure their program. If they want to finish their study within 2 years, allow them. If they want to finish within 4 years, allow them. But of course, they will say that I'm boxed down to PTPN or some Mara scholarship or even your employer scholarship. It doesn't matter, right? If the sponsorship say, I will give a sponsor for 3 years, how are you going to do it? That's up to you. If I give sponsorship within 2 years, how are you going to study? It's up to you. But the scholarship is available for this period of time. So let the student choose. Yeah. Do we empower this? So that's connecting to the flexible education. Yeah. So, and the other flexible education is about like, if I want to do 2 courses per semester, yes, by all means goes. Then you will be finishing late. And can I do on modular basis? If I can offer that, can the university do that? Especially at the postgraduate levels. Yeah, I'm sure you can. And how many universities has actually engaged industry or practitioner lecturers in our program? If I ask this to all 20 plus another 5 more private universities, so we have around like 30 private universities here, okay, everybody will say, yes, we engage. But when do you engage them? At the curriculum review, at the development of the program, at the teaching? Yes, we call them once upon a time. That is not enough. Do we have budget if we can engage practitioners as high as 30% or 40% for a course? I pose it to the management of the universities. We should think that, yeah? Right. And then, of course, other support programs, for example, how good is your POCM, your finishing school, your career advisors. Okay, every university would have a career center or career unit, but how often do you provide those advisors? And I'm so sorry to say, some universities, your career advisors are very young staff, right? And I mean, due respect to them, if they are just working about 2 years or 5 years in the environment, what kind of advice do you expect from a very young staff, right? So don't punish them. By right, a career advisor should be championed by a professor or at least associate professor. And plus, if they have an industry experience there. Yeah. Okay. So my last slide here. Okay. So how far and how good are higher education institutions on this? Okay. So my take is that, okay, the higher educations today and the future, right? Okay. These are the 3 audits that we need to perform. Rationalization audit, which cover to understand the future. New requirement, what are the new requirements by the industry or other stakeholders? What are the new technologies? The need for quality students. Are we getting the quality students? Yeah. Can we nurture them from a non-quality to a quality students? The need for academics with industry experience. If they don't have any industry experience, send them out. Right? Make it a compulsory. Sebelum habis probation, that 1 to 3 years probation, make a requirement that every academics must be attached at least 6 months to the industry. And then get practitioners in, not just at curriculum review, but in the whole process. And this is a must, yeah? And frequent stakeholders engagement. I know some of them in many universities have said that, hey, I've done that. So this is talking about rationalization audit, yeah? Okay. And the other part, okay, once you have done that rationalization audit, or the universities are doing it, right? The operationalization audit. To what extent have we done enough in mapping our talent with the program? Succession planning. When we go down to the faculty, we say, oh, this is the pendaftar punya kerja, or the HR department to do a succession planning. How would the pendaftar know? Because the champion is the dean. The dean must know in and out about your faculty strength. Yeah? Are we preparing or recruit the right staff with the right knowledge and competency? This is another thing. It's not a political appointment, okay, but you're recruiting the best out of the best, because you are going to produce the future generations. So therefore, the mother and father, which is the academics, okay, must be the quality people. Yeah, review the curriculum, less courses, more hands-on. So this is what universities should do. Yeah, review the delivery as well. Review the assessment and rubrics. I've mentioned that. Okay, so this all must be done, but must be done on a proper manner. And financial and budget review. So I'm not talking about the total budget, the OPEX and CAPEX of universities, but at the department level, especially when it comes to program and also staffing. Yeah. And do we have attractive incentives or benefits? And academic governance must be aligned. We are talking about to accommodate those requirements to prepare the students for the future requirements. So the academic governance must be aligned. Yeah. Okay, performance audit, the last one. Yeah, the last part. Okay, students GE. How do we assess our students? We're talking about the students that we are preparing today and for the future must be up to the requirements or demand of the stakeholders. Yeah. Okay. Students graduate employability that commensurate to the program, not just about the getting job. I think now if we dissect our GE rate, we know where do they go actually, what type of professions are they in, what type of industries are they involved. Yeah, so these are very meaningful actually. And then the other one that we have not really, most of the universities have not done enough actually, to me, students learning experience. Okay, yes, they do have people who say that, well, students are involved in the community service, blah, 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 okay, entrepreneurship, CF, those things, okay, but I think that's not good enough. But do the students actually really involved in the real industry? Get out the case study from the industry that they have attached to. So what is the answer to that? Yeah, values, okay, how do we measure values? Being a good citizen, okay, can we measure? So I remember once upon a time ago, there was a measure on ICGPA. That is actually, that should be integrated and enforced again. Yeah, because that part, the I is actually partially measuring the values and morality of the students. And the other one, okay, can we trace the career development. So this is the task of the alumni divisions, to trace the career development of the students that we have produced. And then the last one that I would like to ask, okay, how consistent are we actually in conducting this performance audit? Yeah, okay, right. So are we ready? So the answer is in you. So from my experience, right, okay, we are doing good, yeah, but we have not done good enough. Yeah, so there are rooms for improvement by all the universities to ensure that we are producing the quality students that is up to the mark of the future industry and the future workplace. So on that note, so thank you very much, and I pass to Dr. Hafizul.
Thank you, Prof. Rose. I think she was one time was the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic and International, and then that's why you see that the role of higher education institution, how what should be done, what have not been done, or what not done enough, that has been very good layout over there. So I think we finish all the panels, then we are going to look at the question so far that we have, and then let me read through the question that we have. Okay, all right. So we have over here one question. Okay. So we have over here, okay, to Prof. Rose. Okay, is learning now more effective and interesting to the new millennial in informal setting than the formal setting? Okay, all right. Prof. Rose, I think you turn off the mic. Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Okay, let me answer truthfully, Dr. Omar. So thank you very much for the questions. Okay, truthfully, it's actually in the informal setting.
Okay. All right.
I can see that, okay, because from my students, when I took them out from the classroom, it's just like, okay, let's go and visit. Recently, I brought a group of students, okay, I asked my lecturer, bring these students to the SME Corp. Maybe they could learn something. Take them out from the industry. So it's just like a santai-santai, and they learn that. They learn a lot, and they be able to reflect what they have studied, actually. So that's talking about effective, yeah, actually, rather than you put down. Even online is, I'm not saying online is an informal. Online is still formal. Yeah, it's just a different mode. Yeah, okay. So we should have more informal setting, but how do we equate that informal setting into the rubric or the notional hours? That is I hope every lecturer would know how to do that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prof. Rose. Okay, next one. Okay, Cik Megat. Cik Megat is still there. Okay, Cik Megat, does all jobs require to change the jobs landscape? Okay, so because we see that landscape, one of the landscapes like work from home. Okay, so does all job have to change so that everybody can work from home? So can you answer that question, Cik Megat?
Thank you, Dr. Moderator. Prof. Rose.
Yes.
Critical as always. I think to answer that, actually, like, I think as mentioned by Prof. Dr. Muhammad Jantan just now, there are still jobs that need human touch, and we can do away with it. I think the law part, they still need the touch of humanity in it. As much as the technology change, I think there are still work hand in hand with human part of it. It's just that us need to step up with the technology change. So as the technology change, we need to change the way of we are doing things, we are delivering our tasks. I think that must come hand in hand. I think there are jobs that will definitely go away, but there are jobs that here with us to stay. I think that's the difference. I think if we looking at the manufacturing side, the automation sides, yes, we keep on getting new and new machineries, but there still needs humans actually to operate it. They still need humans actually to make use of it. So I think it goes hand in hand, if from my own perspective. But there are jobs that we can't do away with human touch. The human will still be there regardless.
Thank you, Cik Megat. Okay, we have the next question over here. Probably, give to Prof. Dr. Muhammad Jantan, Prof. MJ, very popular with the, Prof. MJ. Okay, all right. So the question over here is that what new system of education and training, could help workers reap gain from technology and automation? Prof. Dato'? Is Prof. Dato' MJ over there? I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Can Dr.
Hafiz, actually
yeah,
posed the question to me directly, and I responded to him. But what I see now is the education system that will encourage this is, one is a system that allows for a lot of learning with less teaching. Okay, our current education system, there's a lot of teaching being done, very little learning happening. The role of the lecturers or the teachers now is more about facilitation. It's no longer about you being the source of knowledge, because the people know where to look for knowledge. They just need to Google and they get information. The information is there. You are not disseminating information anymore. It is about an education system that allows you to, make use of all this information. So it is about a system that will encourage this skill of learning to learn. Because we need to be flexible. The future work is not here yet. Some may not be, is not in existence now. So to be prepared and be agile for those challenges, you're going to learn. We talked already about reskilling, upskilling, but upskilling to what? It's not here yet. So given that, the fundamental issue of what knowledge is about how to learn. Are our system ready for that? So, and a lot of the learning happens actually when it is experiential based. It needs to be experiential based. So whether it's formal, informal, online, whatever, the primary focus will be more on how do we get people to learn? Yeah, and so an education system that allows for that. So we, the teachers or the trainers or the lecturers becomes more facilitation, facilitating learning. So when we talk about what they call it, really now the technology can be there, but technology only provide you the information. The learning happens when we can synthesize the information. How do we combine all this information to create new things? How do we combine this information to find new solutions? And this is the facilitation part. And I would say maybe upwards of 50% of our teachers, our lecturers are not there yet. They're not able to facilitate the learning. Unfortunately, that is my assessment. So, a lot of our education talks about synthesis, analyzing the information. We are talking about analytical, but nobody's talking about synthesizing. How do we synthesize all this information? So innovation, creativity can only happen when we are able to synthesize all this information together to get new knowledge. So when we create new knowledge, it's about, taking all the existing information, combine it in new ways, synthesizing it, and then we find solution. That's how I foresee the future education should be if we are to meet the challenges of the future workforce. So whether it is at tertiary level, whether it's at secondary level or primary level, this element of learning, facilitation of learning. So a model that can be adapted from would be the American liberal system. They learn about the technical competencies at the postgraduate level rather than the undergraduate level. It is more laissez-faire. It is more liberal education where they learn a lot of things, and education where it's not broken by subject. It's broken by issues. So right now, all the universities are compartmentalized by subject: engineering, science, biology, chemistry. Yes, but everyday problem doesn't happen by subjects, and we know that in the future, solutions are going to come from teamwork. Work are going to get accomplished by collaboration and team, and this will be multidiscipline. We are talking about convergence of the various disciplines to resolve issues. So this is where I hope the education system will move towards that. Thank you. Sorry,
okay.
Too long to answer that.
It's okay, because we still got time, so I won't interrupt, but anyway, we still got time, so I still open for questions, if there is any of the participants would like to, ask any question, or, or at the same time, if any of the panels would like to answer, any of the question, or, Prof. Rose just now, was asking, that, okay, or you was trying to say something, maybe you would like to answer the same question also. It's okay. So anyway, please go ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, I think Prof. Dr. MJ has put it very rightly. So in fact, in my slide just now, when I put the 8 points just now, I've never touched about the knowledge, because knowledge you can find anywhere actually, but the process of learning that is very important. And when I mentioned, I'm glad Prof. Dr. MJ have agreed also when I put up also the words, the ability to use the data solutions, right? So to understand the data, to understand the information is basically how you synthesize it. Okay, so that makes graduates actually have the one step better than the normal graduates actually, if you're talking about preparing for the future. But I'm not sure, but I've been in the universities for more than almost 30 years, right? Okay, and 7 years in the industries, and I've seen that as I mentioned just now, universities must be bold enough if you're really talking about to produce the quality students of the future, right? Okay, move away from the very conventional of too many subjects, too many courses, but address it in the other ways that less subject, but more of the learning is what I think Dr. MJ have used the word learning. I've put it indirectly just now in my slide, reduce the number of courses, but change it to other modes of learning and get the student attached to the industry as early as year 2, if possible. Like what in the Germany and also in the America, we're talking about the liberal education system. Yeah. So that's my take, yeah.
All right. Thank you. I think we come up to almost to the end. I just would like to say again, thank you, all of the panel, and I would like to wrap up, on my behalf, that we started, with Prof. Datu Surveyor Omar Osman, which is the VC of DRB-HICOM University of Automotive Malaysia, with the opening about what is the future work. And then next one, we have the speaker one, and Prof. Dr. MJ, which is start about the human resource planning, for Malaysia, or even for the university, to generate, the skilled workers, when it comes to the time, we are already there. And then we, have the second speaker, which is Inche Megat Fazrul Azlin, from Talent Corp, the new trend work in Malaysia, which is laying out, about, what is the overall, requirement, in Malaysia specifically. And then we have the speaker number 3, Puan Emilia. Yeah, Puan Emilia, we had earlier, a few questions posted to you, and then we don't have the question, now, posted. It's about the emerging job requirement for EE specifically, about the electronic, which is very interesting about the, the pitching of our talent, by the Singapore, So because recently I had also my daughter's graduate from UTM, chemical engineer, and then a few of her, friends, working in Singapore got offered in Singapore, which double, triple salary. And then we have last month, Prof. Dr. Prof. Dr. Rose, and talking about the UMK, from UMK, and then talking about the role of higher education institution. So very interesting topic, so far, and I myself, from being half of my career in the industry and half of my career in the academic, so really understand the bridging of the industry and the academic, or even to go to the extent of the triple helix, and how that it can create a betterment of, between the government, the industry, and also the university, for the not only for the research, but also, for the future works. Okay, with that, I end. Thank you very much, all the panels. Until we see again, and I would like to return, to our, MC, which is Puan Laili. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Hafizul, for moderating our session for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome again Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Surveyor Umar Usman. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. So please welcome again Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Surveyor Dr. Umar Usman, Vice Chancellor of DRB-HICOM University of Automotive Malaysia and President of Scholars Volunteers Group, for his closing remark. Yang Berbahagia Datuk.
Thank you, Laili. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
First, let me thank all the speakers. Excellent presentation and thoughts. Beginning with Dato' MJ, as we fondly call him, then Megat, Emilia, and also Prof. Rose. I got comments. The ladies were fiery, and whole snore bar. I think they have more to say, but because of time, we can safely say that we probably can do this in another avenue. But anyway, as we are closing, we understand that graduates need to prepare beyond the curriculum. And as what Dato' MJ and Prof. Rose has said, and move to experiential learning, both informal and also formal setting. I think that's important. And it's also important for industry to understand how university prepare the graduates or the students to come up into the job. And with the technology requirement, definitely there's a lot of bridging program that needs to come in. We can see that the government has been doing that intervention since early 2000. We therefore also understand that the graduate need to prepare for technological skills, but they need to balance up their leadership and their soft skills, still being quite important in those. It's interesting to note that Megat call for personal branding development. This is a skill that has not been developed. I think Prof. Rose and also those academics here can push this personal branding of the students so that the employer know what the student is about, moving beyond their testimonials and all that, but building up their personal brand on the social media, LinkedIn and others, for example. We also know that the new job description and requirement are going to be task-based, more outsourcing, more hybrid mode of working, and a flexible work schedule. This means that the gaps between the employers, the academics, the administration, as well as the millennials' approach to career development has to be understood and tackled with. So again, let me thank everyone for being together with our university and also our partners. We hope that we can see you again in July or August in another series that we will find interesting topics that combines the academia and also the industry so that we can be learning a bit more and come back. I note that they are participants from Indonesia. I think they are also from Brunei. A few universities, as I noted from their emails, UPM, USM, UITM, and also other universities like UMK, UMP, and also the DRB-HICOM University and many others. And also our members from the 4IRC consortium, as well as the Scholars Volunteer Group. Thank you, Dr. MJ, Prof. Rose, Emilia, Megat, and definitely to Laili, who has always been with us, and Dr. Hafizul, who is making an appearance and hope will continue to appear from time to time. And also the back boys and girls, the IT boys and girls, Hizam, and the members of School of Leadership and the Training Institute. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, and have a good day to everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Nice meeting you, Dr. MJ. Lama tak nampak.
Ada sesi gambar?
Assalamualaikum.
Boleh tu?
Yes.
Laili, sesi
Yes.
gambar.
Cik Megat, see you
Yes.
sini.
Sesi gambar.
Okay,
For the picture.
we're going to have our photo session, everyone. So, Lynn is going to take. All right.
1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Have a
wabarakatuh.
good day.
Thank you, Dato'.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Rose. Thank you, Puan Emilia.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim Gat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great presentation.
DRB-HICOM University gives me a lot of knowledge here.
Fun over here is everything is real. What I need is here.
Tenaga pengajar yang berpengalaman daripada industri